What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another morning show to try and tell you guys what happened last night. Well, obviously, we lost 2-0 in the first leg against Chelsea in a complete shit show last night at Stamford Bridge. It really was. We'll get into it more in a second, but Brian is back on the show, ready for some action today. Brian, how you feeling this morning?
Action, correct. We're ready for some action today. It's bad morning, Tottenham. And yeah, first day, it's the first time at Stamford Bridge, and I got to see what a lot of people normally see at Stamford Bridge, which is a terrible performance by us.
Yeah, it really was. Terrible performances all over the pitch last night. We'll get into the nitty-gritty pretty soon, but Antonio Conte did his press conference last night, and he went in on, the club, really. But I want to listen to it. Brian, you want to listen to it? And let's put it on, and then we'll give a bit of review on it.
Alistair Gold, do you want to go first?
Hi there, Antonio. Can I just ask you tonight whether you felt that this was a match that showed, I mean, you've spoken about this kind of important gap between Tottenham and the teams above before. Was this a night that really showed how much work there is to be done with this squad?
Yeah, but in my press conference before the game against Chelsea, I said that this type of game can show us the difference, the gap that there is between us and top club like Chelsea. Yeah, I think that. We struggle a lot this evening against Chelsea, and they show it to be stronger, much stronger than us, and for sure you have to be disappointed in one end, but in another end, and you have to understand that there is an important difference, and I know this, and also after this game, and this game confirmed what I thought about the difference between the team, but we need to have patience. We need to have patience because there is a lot of job to do, and in many aspects. Because I think honestly that in this moment and the last years, and the level of Tottenham has dropped, and has dropped a lot. And now you have to rebuild. To rebuild, you need to have patience. You need to have more time, and we have to know the situation. And the situation is very clear. And then I understand that it's not so simple to accept this situation, especially for the fans. But we are working a lot to try to fight also in this league and to stay. But in this moment, we are in the middle. We are in the middle, and our situation is this: we are in the middle, and not up, not down. We are in the middle.
Thank you.
Please.
Hi, Antonio. You spoke before the game about the need to have a strong mentality to win things. I wondered how frustrated were you with the start you made, conceding after 5 minutes, and also the way you gave away the 2 goals?
Yeah, but the way that we considered 2 goals was strange, was strange, and for sure there is a disappointment for this, because first goal, we consider the first goal after a few minutes, and then for sure the situation of the game became difficult for us. We consider the second goal, I think we were a bit unlucky. But when I speak about the improvement of the team, of the squad, and I include all these aspects, also, and to try to improve the personality, to try to improve, to try to make less mistakes during the game, and don't lose stupid ball. And but I think that this is part of a process. And I repeat, I want to be very clear. And in these games that we played since I was in charge, and if you analyze the game, and we struggle. Every game we struggle, and we have to know this, and we must be realistic, and to know that this season to get 3 points for us it will be difficult, but we have to be ready to do this with all our strength, and our fans has to continue to stay back of us the way that they are showing to do, because I repeat, they are fantastic, the way that support us. But at the same time, I want to tell the truth and to speak very clearly with our fans. Now we are in the middle, and we need time. And this is the situation. Ready to work, to continue to work hard, 24 hours for Tottenham. We took together the players, but we have to know that there is a lot of job to do to rebuild the situation in a competitive way.
Antonio, you're talking there about rebuilding and bridging the gap. How much of that is about bringing in new players starting this month?
But honestly, and I also want to be very clear now, because if we think that with the transfer the transfer window in January, and we solve the situation, and I'm telling you a truth, and I'm telling you a lie, not the truth. And there is a lot of job to do. That if someone thinks that the transfer market can solve the situation, and first of all, in January is very difficult to buy. It's very difficult. Then you have to see if there is the possibility to buy players that you need. And I think that we have to continue to work in the way that we are doing, to work hard, and to continue to improve the level of our players. Then, if there is some opportunities, and the club is convinced about this opportunity to improve the team, yeah, but I repeat, and I don't see in the transfer window the resolution of our problem. And the resolution of our problem now is to work and to improve all many aspects of our squad. And because I repeat, there is a lot of job to do. That to think that you buy 1-2 players and you solve the situation, you are not you are not right.
Just time for one more. John Cross, please.
Hello, Antonio. I just wondered, you talk about a gap between yourselves and the likes of Chelsea. How long do you think it will take to bridge that gap, to change that mentality, to make Tottenham the force that they were, challenging for top 4 and for trophies again? A year, 2 years, longer?
Yeah, but there is not only a problem of mentality. And if you want to stay at this level, and look, Chelsea last season won the Champions League, and in this season they invested much money to improve the team, and I think that this is enough to understand the difference in this moment between us and them. And but I repeat, and we need time so much time. Believe me, we need so much time. We need so much time before to try to to rebuild the situation. And you can rebuild the situation in only 6 months or 1 year. And I think that I have a bit of experience to tell you, and also to speak also our fans. I repeat, and we needed to stay units and to try to rebuild an important situation for Tottenham. Now we are in the middle. Now we are in the middle. This is the truth. We are in the middle.
Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was every word Antonio said last night. Some interesting snippets from there, which we'll get into in a second. But we've got a super chat here from Tottenham Dan saying, what annoys me most is that these players reach these games and then don't show up. The game flew by most of the players and get into the opposition, for fuck's sake. And spot on, isn't it? I mean, too many passengers in that team last night. Too many players that say, yeah, I'm here, but they're just here to make up the numbers, aren't they? The majority of them.
It's another semi-final that we've worked hard to get to, just to put in a lacklustre, pathetic performance. In all honesty, you look at it. Chelsea in the second half, especially, weren't exactly the greatest, but they were just cutting through us. 2-3 passes they were in. We were back, forth and forth, sideways. There's just no spark or creativity last night. It's just so upsetting. So upsetting.
In terms of what Conte said in his press conference, he's talking about the gap between the two clubs. He said before the game, the gap will be evident after the game in terms of we'll see what the gap is. It's clear to see what the gap is now. Probably it was clear to see before anyway.
Yep.
But what do you make out of his comments about the January transfer window? You know, him saying, if you think that we're going to rebuild over the January transfer window, I'd be lying if I said that we are. And he needs time, he needs patience. What do you make out of all that?
Same shit, different day. It's simple as, I keep saying it, we have been on this rodeo before, we've been on this ride, we've seen this story unveil, and here we go again. I mean, people will say, oh, they haven't had this meeting, oh, they have, it's bad media talk, it's this, it's that. Well, it's clear from the horse's mouth that there's definitely an issue here. There's definitely an issue. Players should be lined up, there should be some traction, there should be some movement, and there's nothing. Hence why we have Doherty at left back, Tanganga, who had
why? Well, I mean, I know, and apparently Conte said at some stage yesterday he wasn't fit enough to play 90 minutes. So why not play him and then take him off?
Well, exactly. Why not start with your strongest player? I mean, with all due respect, we have Morecambe next. It's not like we're going into the North London derby or the Premier League game with Chelsea. It's Morecambe. Players will be rested. And you want to get to a final, you play the best 11 that are available to you. He made some mistakes yesterday, but it still doesn't excuse the performance on the pitch.
Anything else you took away from what Conte was saying last night?
Just obviously, the good thing I like about him is he's calling the club out. He's not just sitting there and taking it. He knows how to play the media. He knows how to get the best out of the media. And let's hope it has some fruition.
Yeah. You know, he's speaking before the game about a strong mentality and stuff like that. I mean, just the mentality was shot to pieces last night. It was just shot to pieces last night. I mean, how does Conte pick these players up to play in any sort of game? And, you know, he was also talking last night about how we're going to struggle to pick up 3 points in you know, any game.
Yep.
So what are we supposed to take away from that?
That we're in a mess. We're in a mess. Conte's come, and as they say sometimes, it papers over the cracks, and that is exactly what Conte is doing. With our home form, it's papering over the cracks. Without being defeated in the Premier League, it's papering over the cracks. But whenever we come up against a top team, and all right, we did well against Liverpool, Chelsea got the better of us once again. Once again. It's just, what can we say or what can we do? Once again, I don't. I mean, I came on the show yesterday. When we got home, I went on to the post show, and I was saying, listen, I don't know what people want. There's people that are like me that know where I put the blame and have always been very staunch on that. Or you've got people that go, woohoo, we're making improvement. Look at that, we're getting somewhere. We're getting to semi-finals. What is the point of getting to semi-finals to be putting in performances like that?
What improvement? We got to the final last year.
Yeah, but this is the thing. People think, oh, well, years ago, the sugar years and all this, we didn't get to semi-finals. We didn't get 5th in the league, 6th in the league. We got here, we did this. It's like, well, we get here? That's what they're accepting. It's what they're accepting. It's accepted. You know what, if we get to 2 semi-finals and finish 6th, that's a good season. I don't support Monopoly FC. I don't support Almost FC. I support Tottenham Hotspur FC, who have a class, a tradition, a style, and stand for something, and none of it's there.
I mean, this is all down to years and years of neglect from the ownership. This is all down to years and years of neglect from the ownership. They've brought in the right men now in terms of Conte and Paratici. Do we not need to have a little bit of patience now?
It's better. It's literally.
I get what's happened in the past. I get that, you know, it's been years and years of neglect. I completely understand that, and I've been vocal about that.
Yes, you have
in the past, 6 months to a year. But seeing as he has, as Conte and Paratici are in now, do we not need to have a little bit of patience?
For Conte, yeah, we do. But the thing is, when he signed, he was told money was there and available. It was there. That was out. All fans, not just Levy out, Levy in, Levy on the fence. Yeah, do you know what? Conte wouldn't have come without insurances. Conte wouldn't have done this without insurances. He's definitely going to get money. He's definitely going to be able to spend. Well, the build-up to January, obviously, Alistair Gold was like, oh, yeah, money might be tight. We might not be able to do this. It's the same story. I will give Conte all the time in the world. But you can see this unravelling before your very eyes in the exact same way it goes with every single manager before him. So, like I said, I mean, Conte, I will give all the time in the world, and we know he can fix it. But you just don't go... You don't go into a job, any walk of life, you set your manager up to success. You set your employees up to success or succeed. What's happening?
I get that, but look, we're 6 days into a transfer window. The January transfer window is always a very hard window to get that stuff done. Conte alluded to that in the press conference. Who can rebuild over January? Name me one club that are going to rebuild over January. You're looking at Newcastle, right? Newcastle signing Trippier, Newcastle putting in bids left, right and centre for players. But these players that they're bringing in is not exactly the calibre that we want to be bringing in.
I would take Luca Dean.
You would take Luca Dean, fine. You would take Luca Dean, but I'm talking about as a rebuild.
So, listen, one thing I will say, I don't expect us to go spend 250 million, 150 million.
How many players do you expect us to bring in January?
I would want us to, even if we could bring in 2. And I even said, even if we had to sign some of these good calibre players on a pre-contract, knowing that they were coming for the summer, that I'm more than happy with, because then you can see they're coming. I don't expect us to pick up world-class superstars in January. It is a very, very hard window to go. And especially,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Especially when if you're going for players that are playing for teams qualified for trying to get into the Champions League, it's very, very hard to get these players out. It's unless they have a release clause or unless you make it enticing to them in the club. But this is the thing. We have to, for the kind of players we need, like you said, because of the mismanagement, we need to start putting not paper over the cracks. We need to fill the cracks. And I don't expect us to, like I said, drop 150 million on one player or 2 players, but I expect something when you can see the team is so bare, so I mean, the lack of creativity. I'm not joking. Anyone can see that. I can sit down with my nephews, my 4 nephews, and my 1 niece, and they'll go, "What's going on?"
Yeah,
it's clear for everyone to see, and we don't fix it. We just hope we can put a player in that position and hope it works, and that's not how you get to where we want to be.
A few super chats here. One from Mintu Lee. She says, my birthday yesterday was hoping for a win to top it up, but oh well, will be tough, but we'll try again at home with a better 11 in Conte, I trust. Happy birthday, Mintu Lee.
Very happy birthday.
Yeah, so many happy returns. Hopefully they can right their wrongs next week, like you say. Another super chat here from Michael Hellman, member for 4 months, saying very glad This performance happened early in the transfer window. At what point do the fans rile up the ENIC out engine? Terrible PR for future signings. And this is what we were saying last night, wasn't it?
That's exactly what we were saying yesterday. Or you said it as well. We are so lucky that this kind of result has come January the 5th as opposed
Not
to...
in the result, but the performance.
That's right. The performance happened January the 5th rather than January the 25th. That has been one stroke of luck with this because it's clear to see. It is very, very clear to see.
Craig 2084 says there's no shame to lose away to European champions. And you know what? You're right. There is no shame to lose away to Chelsea. There's no shame away to lose away to the current reigning European champions. But there is shame with the manner of the defeat. There is shame with some of those performances out there on the pitch last night.
Yep.
No heart, no passion.
I could not agree more. Listen, every team, when we go away or home, just because we're Tottenham Hotspur, we have no divine right to win 3 points. No team does, unless you're a Manchester City and you're on fire. But like I said, it's the performance. It's the performance. And that first half was shocking. It could have been more. And this is the thing. And it gets to the point, like I saw a few comments saying, how can world-class players come? Why would they want to come? We live in a world with money. If you offer the players and the deal is accepted and you say, right, okay, and I'm not talking 300, 400, 500,000 because we know we're not going to do that, but you can offer people substantial wages now. You can do. And I saw...
Like he has done with Ndombele.
Yeah, exactly. Complete bad management with and scouting for the purchase of him. But give him the world. And I saw a picture that said, why invest millions when we can pocket billions? And that's where we are. That's where we are.
Another super chat here from Faz Radfar saying, don't forget we signed Lucas in January. Yeah, but that's more like a one-off than an actual rule of the January transfer window. And that's not a rebuild, is it? That's just signing one player. You're talking about Spurs needing a rebuild in the squad in pretty much almost every position. Centre-back, right-back, central midfield, striker, attacking midfielder, right wing. You know what I mean? We need a rebuild pretty much all over the pitch. And that's not going to happen in January. It's just not.
No.
It's just not.
It's not. But you need some new blood. You need some new blood to freshen it up. Like I said, January... Everyone is saying it. January is a very, very hard window. And it obviously is. But it's not just for Tottenham Hotspur. It's for everyone else. Unless you're a Man City, Chelsea, that can just throw money at problems. But this is where you have a month to try and organise and sort out and back your manager with the areas he needs backing. And in certain areas, when you look at it, Harry Kane, no competition. Christian Eriksen, S-player, nowhere to be seen. Right wing back, I mean... I think Emerson's going to turn into a player, but we have to... I did think it was a necessity, but we have to find someone because this guy, for all of his trying, cannot cross a football to save his life. He just cannot do it. So he needs a backup. The defence yesterday, I mean, we saw now how important Dyer is. The gaping hole of Dyer yesterday just goes to show how bad it is we need another centre-back. But I'm not saying we get these all in January, but you have to address which one of those are vital to help the manager. They talk about wanting to make money and paying off loads. Well, get them into the Champions League, get Champions League money back, and it makes life a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, look, we'll get into the match review in a second, but there's been an announcement about some fixtures. Leicester away has been rescheduled now for Wednesday, the 19th of January. Just before you go home, Brian. Just before you go home. Just before you go home. So we could have another trip together, Brian.
Yes, we will be. 1 billion %.
But look, let's get into the match review now.
This will be good.
Yeah, I mean, look, we lost 2-0 last night in a complete shit show, but you could see from the first minute of the game the way this was going, couldn't you? In terms of Conte, right? In terms of Conte, how he set up the team, do you think he got it wrong yesterday?
Yes,
what
I
did
do.
he get wrong?
So first of all, we've got Conte is Conte, but there are errors being made. Not majority, but just because he's Conte, you can't just say, oh, it's Conte. And obviously, I don't understand the Doherty Reguilon. If he couldn't play the full match, like you said, get him to start and contribute, and then when he's flagging, off you go. I just don't even understand. I don't even understand how Doherty gets on the pitch anymore. I think being hauled off at half time was like, right, see you later, bye bye, you're done. And we just looked dull. I mean, we'll get on to. I mean, Brian Hill was the brightest player when he came on.
Yeah, him and Ndombele.
Him and Ndombele played well. Lucas battled. I don't even know what more to say about that. And Ollie Skip tried.
In terms of Antonio Conte and his starting lineup and the system that we played, as soon as I saw the lineup, I don't know if I'll speak to you or to Josh, but I was saying, look, I'm not happy with this. I mean, I don't know why we're playing a 2 in midfield. I thought against this Chelsea side, their strongest point of the pitch is the midfield. So why not beef up that midfield? Why not put an extra man in there and try combat them in midfield?
Exactly. I mean, you and me have to say something as well, because we kept saying about the midfield in our post-match. What it looked like, it did look like Pierre had a good game, but on review,
yeah, he was shocking.
He was shocking.
That's Pierre, right? Some of the things I saw him do on that football pitch, like, I mean, I didn't see it firsthand when I was on the pit, when I was at the stadium last night, but on review when I was watching the highlights last night, shocking, absolutely shocking from Højbjerg last night. Stuff that you don't associate with Højbjerg as well. Lazy, lethargic, letting people just run past him. Terrible touches. I mean, he was shocking last night. He was absolutely shocking, and I don't know if that's. Obviously, it's a dig at him, but as well, like you keep saying with Son, overplayed, overworked. I feel the same about Højbjerg.
Oh, listen, Son, like you just said, overplayed, undervalued. Højbjerg, I mean, let's talk about this guy. Everyone knows my feelings on him. And we know he has got the engine of all engines. Like, I've not seen a player for a long, long time at Tottenham that could just keep playing and keep playing and keep playing and keep playing. But he is getting to the point now where literally the amount of games he's playing, he needs a rest. And like you said, we should have matched him up in midfield. We let them overrun it. And in that first half, in the first 10, 15 minutes, you could see what was about to happen, couldn't you?
Yeah, and the goal came in the 5th minute. Pretty much an own goal. It wasn't given as an own goal, but pretty much was an own goal. Massive deflection. And it happens again 10 minutes later. After 25 minutes, we're 2-0 down, 2 on goals pretty much, and the game's pretty much done. And to be honest, I think we've done well to keep it at 2-0 for the whole game.
We did. I mean, you and me, sir, because in the first half, we had the defence right behind us, and we were on the third row, but the first row, because I had the netting over the... And all you could see in that first half was Ben Davies trying to G everyone up. Ben Davies trying to be a captain. Ben Davies trying to communicate. And it was just falling on deaf ears.
Where was the passion from Højbjerg last night? Where was it?
I don't know. I honestly don't. And it really, really does hurt me to say, but not things like this about Pierre, because I love him to bits, but he needs to be accountable for his actions or his performance, sorry. And it just was not up to any kind of part. It was dreadful yesterday.
A lot of people have been laying into Højbjerg recently, right?
Yep.
I've not been one of them. I think he's been okay recently. But last night just played into all of their hands, didn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, we've heard it, and we've heard it with Son recently, but with Pierre, it's been very, very hard for me to hear these things, because obviously when I watch it in Canada, I don't see what people see off the camera and everything, and I always try and think the best of him. But yeah, yesterday he looks exhausted. And when you say he looks exhausted, it's worrying times.
They completely bullied us, especially in that first half yesterday. We could hardly get in their half of the pitch, never mind in their penalty area. They completely overrun us. They completely dominated us in every single area of the pitch. It was embarrassing standing there at Stamford Bridge with all the Chelsea fans and watching that pile of shit. That's all it was last night, especially in that first half.
Yep.
But Conte makes changes, goes to a back 4-2-3-1 in the second half. Ndombele comes on, who I thought was our best player probably in the second half. And things slightly did change. I thought we were slightly better in that second half. And I thought, we weren't really giving Chelsea a run for their money, but we were more solid in the game, let's say. We had a few kind of half chances and stuff like that. And we limited Chelsea to any real... Well, I mean, they had a couple of chances in the second half, but we limited them a lot more than we did in that first half. And I felt, apart from, Lloris made 1 or 2 routine saves, but... He didn't come under that much pressure, did he?
No, he didn't. I mean, you're right. Ndombele certainly had an impact on the attacking side. We certainly started doing things. But what we noticed, or what I certainly noticed, is we were still back, forth, sideways. And then literally, as soon as they dispossessed us, they were so quick. 1 or 2 clever passes and they were just down our throat. They were literally in on goal or got a man free running wide. The ease that they were just breaking us down and then counter-attacking was frightening. And it just went to show the difference. They've got players that can spray that ball around a pass. Ndombele did try. I will say, I think in the games that I saw last time when I was here, Ndombele was not the Ndombele we know. You could see him actually really, really tried. You really could see him trying to get things forward. It just wasn't to be.
Changes that Conte made. Obviously, Skip goes off. Højbjerg stays on the pitch. What's that about?
Again, see, this is the thing. I mean, Skip, bless him. I mean, the one thing I will say, and I'm going to say it before I forget, after a performance like that, after a game like that, after a severe letdown and obviously anger, once again, the Tottenham Hotspur fans that go and travel around this country, and the fans in general, but the away fans were absolutely incredible, and they don't deserve this. All right, we just travelled across London. But hearing that, you know what I mean, when we were going for like 15 straight minutes, it was just everything. Those Spurs
Jumping
fans...
up and down, it was brilliant.
Those Spurs fans don't deserve what was put in front of them. They were absolutely outstanding. It was my first time to the bridge, and obviously, like I said, I'm like most people now, 100% record of defeats at the bridge. They were brilliant, but yeah, Skip. When Skip came round, obviously... He acknowledged us with his new song, which I love. I don't get it. He is so vital. He is fresh. I don't know why he went for him as opposed to Højbjerg. Højbjerg was the clear one of those two that needed to come off. I don't think it would have made a difference, in all honesty, because the damage was done. But it was a bit of a bizarre one.
To be honest, yeah, first of all, I want to echo your thoughts on the fans last night. I thought they were brilliant. Even at 1-0 down, 2-0 down, we were out singing Chelsea. Chelsea would pop up randomly here with a few songs about Tottenham, but that's about it. I mean, hardly heard a peek out of the Chelsea fans last night, and they were winning 2-0. But the Spurs fans, absolutely brilliant last night. I mean, my voice is hurting me a bit this morning. Non-stop singing for 90 minutes pretty much, even though the performance on the pitch did not warrant it. It did not warrant it whatsoever. But in terms of how we can move forward from this, or in terms of the tie, let's talk about 2-0. That performance, right? I think I was saying last night, I think we got away with one last night. It could have been 4, 5, 6-0 last night. At 2-0, we're still in the tie, aren't we?
100% we're still in the tie. Listen, at White Hart Lane, I won't call it the thingy, White Hart Lane.
You're not going to call it the Levy Bowl.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so anything's possible there. Anything's possible there, especially with the way the fans have been at home recently. Obviously, when we've been doing well, the fans have been up there. And this time we go there, we have to come out. We have no option but to be offensive, and we have to obviously get at least 2 goals. So we have to come out. So it should be a better performance. But with saying that, we need to attack so much. Chelsea could easily just break away and get us on the counter, but I think one thing's for sure, that the performance will be 10 times better.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have players in there like Eric Dyer back in the team.
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully. It's going to be a bit touch and go, actually, but hopefully Eric Dyer be back in the team. But it just showed last night. It just showed. We'll get into Tanganga in a second, but it just showed last night. Having Tanganga in there, Emerson, obviously, I don't know what's going on with Emerson. I mean, sometimes he plays well, but recently he's been absolutely shocking. It just shows our lack of depth. It just shows how serious it is, how actually serious it is when 1 or 2 players are out, how bad the performances are.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. But it's from... I think the worrying thing is we're learning this from players that we wanted out the door. That's the worrying thing. Like, people will say that Dyer needs to go. He has been incredible for us. It just goes to show you don't know what you got till it's gone. And not saying he was out of the squad, and you saw the difference. I mean, this is it's not right, like you said, and we'll talk about Tanganga in a minute. But it's clear the quality and depth it's not been there for a long time.
Yeah,
it's not been there for a long time. Yet still, we think, oh, don't worry, we've got these people. We've got people that could just do a job there. I don't want people that could do a job. I want match changers. I want match winners. I want defenders that can make last-ditch tackles, game-saving tackles. I want protection for Hugo. There's just so much. But because we've got this people where they could just go, oh, we'll drop them in here or we'll drop it. It's like Google Street Map. Oh, Dyer's out? Oh, let's just plonk this one in here. And we think that makes a difference, and it doesn't.
Yeah, and a player that was plonked in there, Japhet Tanganga. I don't know if he's had a good performance since that Man City game, first game of the season.
He hasn't. He has. I mean, there's no doubt that performance was sensational. It was absolutely incredible. But again, he started that one at right back, didn't he? And then we've put him at right centre back. Then he's been left wing back, or he replaced Davies against Palace. Then Dyer's out. Okay, let's put him here. You can't. He's a young guy who's trying to make his way into the squad, and I think he will be a good player. But you can't just keep saying, right, you play here. No, this game you play here. No, this game you... He needs to have a position and learn his craft in it. Whether that's to go out on loan, which I think he desperately needs to a Premier League team, to get regular minutes, like Cole Walker did, and then bring him back and we get to see what the development with him is. Like Ollie Skip went to Championship, but I'm talking Premiership for Tanganga. He needs something. He can't just be... a gopher where he just go for me in that position, go for me in that position. It's not going to work. It's going to shatter his confidence as well.
I mean, his confidence looks shot already. I mean, he was dreadful last night.
Yep.
He was absolutely dreadful last night. And another player that was dreadful, two players that were dreadful, were the fullbacks, Emerson and Doherty. Doherty gets called off at half-time. It changes slightly. When Ndombele comes on, we go to a back four. Emerson... What did he do last night?
He ran, he got into the position, and you could even hear it where we were. Everyone, as soon as he got near to a crossing position, they're like, oh no. Oh, here we go. Or as he passed it back, it was like, pass it back. He cannot cross a football.
He can't take on his man either.
No, he cannot do it. It's just, we've seen it in games like the Crystal Palace game, he had a good game. He got an assist as well for the Lucas Moura header. But that's it. Don't get me wrong, I still think there's a player there, and I still think he can be a good defender. But he has got a lot of attributes that are being found out now, and it's affected us.
Yeah, I've been saying it for a while. Even after Emerson came in, we still need another right back. We still need another one. But look, we're going to get into call-ins in a second. That is our match review. So thank you for watching that. Let me just get through a few super chats before we do bring on some guests. And this is from Hojak Borsman saying, was hoping for a draw, but glad Spurs lost. Levy has to take the loss. This loss as absolute certainty to back Conte before Spurs face Chelsea and Arsenal in January. That's not going to happen. Shem Tan saying, difference between the teams. Chelsea have an owner that will improve the team, win trophies. Spurs owner will sacrifice them to make pounds. Hashtag Levy out.
Bang on the money.
So, did I miss one? No, I think that's it. Here we go. From Ryland 1738 saying, why would you be happy? Would you be happy with a Kessie pre-contractual agreement and Adama Traore this month? Also, Lo Celso brought energy last night. Yeah, I do think Lo Celso did bring energy last night, but he just wasn't on the pitch for long enough. He came on, 10 minutes to go?
Yep.
So, yeah, he did bring energy, but it was a little too late by the time he came on. I think Conte did get it wrong last night. I did. In terms of Kessie, would I want him on a pre-contract? Yeah, I would. But even if we sign Kessie, I still think we need another player in there that can get the ball on the deck, move it quickly in the advanced area. I don't think Kessie's that guy. I really don't think Kessie's that guy. But I would love him in the squad. I think he's a top quality player. In terms of Adama Traore, yeah, I will take him this month. Man, I would take a lot of people this month, but we'll see what actually happens. Any of your views on those two players?
Yeah, I mean, right now, if you offer me Kessie on a pre-contract and Adama, as much as I don't think Adama's right, but he can't be worse than Emerson for distribute. Actually, he could be. But yeah, I would take that in an absolute heartbeat. Absolute heartbeat, because it's a clear indication, okay, they are trying to get players in. They have signed a player of a genuine class with Kessie. And then, yeah, we build from there. Like I said, if we got one through the window now, and a couple or one during for pre-season for next season, I'll be delighted. I'll be delighted. It's just the calibre of players. When will they come? If they come. And here we go again.
All right. Let's start bringing on some guests. We have got George coming on first. George, how's it going, buddy?
Sorry about that. Just had you on mute. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. 1 second. I just need to turn the volume up. Yes. How you doing, George?
Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, it was a bit of a shocking performance last night, wasn't it? I did sympathise with all the away supporters having to go there and watch that. It was certainly on TV. It was a nightmare. I felt that it was just lacked any real urgency, any real dynamism, no creativity, which has been, the watchword for ages now. We don't have any creative influence. There was nothing at all really. No potency going forward. And it was a real rude awakening. It's something, to be honest, it was something that I was expecting with the performances at Southampton and at Watford. I think it was fairly obvious that if we're not going to create, then it's just nothing is. We don't have that fear factor with teams, and especially with a team like Chelsea. I just got the impression that Chelsea just felt that they're not going to get the ball off us, and if they do, it will be short-lived. There's a lot of work to be done, and Conte spelled it out in his press conference.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the clear gap between the two teams for sure. I mean, Chelsea were missing a few players. I mean, they had Sarr in centre back. They had Saul Niguez in the midfield. Saul's been dreadful every time he's played this season. Malang Sarr, he looked good last night. I believe he should have been sent off actually yesterday, but it wouldn't have impacted anything because it was very late on. But why did we not try and exploit those weaknesses that they had?
I just don't think that we have that team has gelled together significantly enough to exploit that. We managed to do it against Liverpool at home with the crowd behind us and with a weakened Liverpool. But we're just not able to do it consistently. Let's face it, that word is what separates the top teams from your bang averages, and unfortunately at the moment we are bang average. That we need to invest in this squad. It's going to be a long, painful process, and if Conte is backed, then we may get something sooner rather than later, simply because he is such a good coach. But if they don't, then he will fall by the wayside like many other managers.
So George, I want to ask you a quick question. First of all, your interview, your spot last night was fantastic. I came on after you. You were phenomenal yesterday. Really insightful. You say it again. Obviously, it's a long process. It's a long how can I say this? How long do the fans say, okay, enough long processes, enough? We've heard it, because every single time it's okay. So we don't even have a manager long enough to handle a long process. So that's the bit that gets me. We can clearly see, like I said, creativity, as you said, is something we've needed for ages. Now, when you run a business and you have a deficiency, you need to fill something, you go out and fill that. Why is it that we just don't?
I think what's happened is that the board in itself is, in my opinion, I hate to use the word, it's been incompetent. It's been incompetent on a couple of levels. One is that they've not been able to see the obvious happening over and over and over again. And secondly, they've invested in a football club, and as Stel said yesterday evening, your winning of trophies and your performances in this day and age is what creates your fan base, and your fan base then spends money. That spending of money translates into profits, and everyone's a winner. I think that they bought Tottenham Hotspur I think that the overall objective was to build this stadium. The planning permission then went in, I think it was within, a couple of years after ENIC bought the club from Sugar. I remember actually there was an open event at White Hart Lane, to have a look at the plans, which I went to. And it got the fans excited. We thought we were now going to be, taking that step up. But the reality is, one trophy in 20 years is, I say it and I have to laugh. It's a laugh so you don't cry as Tottenham fans. It really is.
Yeah, but back on the game, George, last night, we know the squad isn't good enough. We just know that as a fact, right? But yesterday, in terms of the way we set it up, do you think Conte got it wrong yesterday?
It's really, really difficult to say whether he got it wrong. If in the cold light of day, I think possibly yes. I think he's got what he's got, and he's trying to introduce different things, different facets. He's trying to be unpredictable in order to try and make us competitive. You've given sort of Doherty a bit of a slating today. I actually think that this season for Doherty has been much better than I've seen him play.
Isn't that the problem though, George? Because even though he's much better than what he has been, it's still nowhere near good enough.
Absolutely. And when I was sort of discussing the game yesterday through my WhatsApp groups, and someone said he's been okay, and I said, yeah, well, okay tonight is, in that team is significantly good, unfortunately, because Doherty is not the problem here. The problem is that again and again we're having to go in for players like Doherty, and I'm concerned that we're now being linked with Traore, because Traore is another player who is struggling to deliver at Wolves, and we can try and sell it to ourselves as much as possible in the with better players around him, etc., etc., etc. The reality is we keep going in for these players, spending money on them, putting them on contracts, and then they're just not delivering. And it's been a formula that just does not work for us. So unfortunately, they need to go in and get some sort of a stellar signing sooner rather than later. This transfer window it's just not going to happen. I think we've just got to come to terms with that, unless they've been talking to somebody in the interim that we just don't know about. So I think we just need to come to terms with whether Conte is going to be around long enough to undertake this rebuild himself, or if he's then going to walk as a result of what the board is going to put him through. And if that's the case, then the support there needs to be a significant backlash for this board to basically to just be scrapped, just be got rid of, and something else be put in its place. Because 20 years with one League Cup, I mean, look, I was brought up with Tottenham in the 80s, and every year we were in with, for a shout with, for a trophy. I remember us winning the UEFA Cup. I remember the FA Cup, back-to-back FA Cup wins. And, this is what, we were sort of weaned on and raised on. If you had told me back then that we would have to wait 20 years to win a trophy, the older I got, I would think that you're mad. But, it is what it is. We're faced with it. So let's just hope that the board are finally going to get their finger out.
All right, George, anything else?
Yeah, no, I just want to ask George one other thing. So, well, it's actually a couple of things. First of all, what's your thoughts on Tanganga and not where his future lies, but where do you think his best position is, and what do we need to do to get the best out of him?
The Man City game, he was unbelievable. I was singing his praises, and I was so happy that we had one of our own back. Because during that time, obviously, none of us were particularly happy with the whole Harry Kane situation. Yep. He's not built on it, and unfortunately goes back to the word again, consistency. So he's not going to be a consistent player, and the more that we put him into these situations, the more we're damaging his confidence. And I'm inclined to believe that he does need to go out on loan so he can find his true position. Because we're damaging a lot of these young players. Scarlett, Parrott, we're putting them through the mill, and it's not right that we're treating our youth academy in that way, where we're having to dip into it making them grow up before their time without them truly enjoying that whole academy experience and that ability to break into a team and be successful as you break into the team. So what you're doing is you're just breaking them, and I really do feel sorry for him, as I felt sorry for for Parrott and also for Scarlett.
Okay, the final one is, and I think I'm going to ask everyone this. Would you, and it's rumoured, obviously it broke yesterday, that he's going to sign for a Premier League club this weekend or the next couple of days. I said yes to this at the beginning. Would you take Coutinho, whether it be a loan with the option to buy or however this deal is getting brokered right now? If Tottenham, would you be happy if tomorrow or in the next couple of days you saw Coutinho holding the Tottenham shirt?
Yeah, I think I would be, because at the moment beggars can't be choosers. And I would rather it was Coutinho than somebody like Bale, because I think you've mentioned it a lot in your sort of feeds and everything recently, is the whole feeling, the sentimentality behind the old players, and I don't think it fits anymore. We need to as a fan base understand that those players are gone. The time has gone. We need to invent this formula for success within the club. So somebody like Coutinho will be an experienced head. He's a significant name still in European football. So yeah, I think I would be happy with that.
There we go.
All right, George. Well, thanks for coming on once again. Really great caller, and hope to speak to you very soon.
Just before I go, Ben, I just want to say thanks for all the work that you guys have done. I've been watching you guys now for about 3-4 years, and I think you've been brilliant, both yourself and Sim. Yeah, thanks a lot, and keep up the good work.
No, thank you for the kind words. It really does mean a lot for the constant support from all of you guys out there. So thank you very much, George. We shall speak to you very soon, hopefully.
See you, George.
Better occasions next time. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
What'd you say?
Only on Simchas.
Exactly, only on Simchas. Let's keep moving and let's go to the Jorical. Jory.
What's up, Jory?
How's it going, man?
Hey guys, good to see you again, Brian. You belong on this show, you know.
Oh, thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure to see you, mate. When I saw your face pop up, I was like, yes, here he comes, here he comes.
Jory, this is his home away from home, my friend.
Yeah, this is kind of this is my forte area we're into now, I think. I mean, I just want, like, I was listening to the post-game show yesterday. Tried to get on, it didn't work. For some reason, I keep having some problems with that. But and to be honest, I was a little bit surprised how kind of baffled our fan base seemed, because, like, I think Sai put it really well when he said, like, okay, I kind of feel like the dark clouds are gathering now. They're coming. I hope not. I would really love to be surprised, but I feel like I've been here before. And of course, this is kind of where we're all what we're all are feeling right now. And to that, like, I would say to that, like, when, like, let's say just since Potts, you know, when have we really been surprised by the board and Levy, or Levy specifically? It's rarely that those of us who are skeptical of Levy have been surprised. He completely lives up to what we expect from him every time, really. Apart from one time, I'll ask you guys. Can you put your mind to when we were really surprised with what Levy did?
Really surprised.
Yeah,
probably bring in Gareth Bale. I was surprised that he brought in Gareth Bale, but apart from that, Ndombele.
I wasn't surprised at that.
Huh?
I wasn't surprised with Bale,
no.
because we wanted players that could come and make it. And obviously, he thought merchandise, sell shirts, do this, do that, and in comes a Bale. Yeah,
I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue, guys. One of our main contributors to this channel has a tattoo about that event.
What are you
Oh,
talking
Conte.
about?
Could that?
I think it could be me.
Conte,
Me with a certain,
yeah.
yeah.
You guys are,
You're right. How did we forget that?
You need
I
a
mean, how
couple
did
of
we
more
forget that?
You guys need a couple more cups of coffee, I think.
No, but Joey,
you
that
there.
wasn't a surprise for me. Wasn't bringing in Conte. I mean, you can bring in a manager, but it's all about how you act when the manager's in. That's the case.
No, but Ben, you gotta admit we were all shocked when it actually went through.
True.
You know,
True.
that's what I mean. And why did it go through? Because of Levy out chance in the stadium. So now I'm gonna wrap around, like, because a lot of, like, you've alluded to it, Ben. You've said, is this too early to get into basically the whole Levy out? The thing, this is kind of like listening to an abused wife, like saying, oh, but he promised he's gonna stop drinking and he'll be nice now. The only thing that will make Levy do anything in the direction of what we want him to do, and the board including, is to keep enormous pressure on them. You know, that's you cannot wait. This is like I really implore all the fans. You cannot, all you guys that are going to be in the stadiums, you cannot wait with this. The pressure needs to be on now. Conte has let us know already that the club is fucking around with him already. We hear that from what he's saying in the interviews. So now we need to let the board know that this is not what's going to happen here. I think what we saw yesterday, apart from having a not good enough squad, we also saw that our squad was too tired. They were too overworked. And I think what you add into that is the squad is reacting off of Conte's disappointment with what he had just experienced in terms of this window. So now if they see Conte being losing faith, then they'll lose 10 times the faith that he will show, you know. So I definitely feel like I definitely feel the like, if we go to the game yesterday, I think like the two in the pivot was a mistake for sure. I agree with you you guys that it was weird, like, because like if there's anywhere where that battle would be, we had a chance to maybe win that battle, would be to dominate the midfield, and we kind of didn't even try in the first half. The second half we definitely corrected for that, but it wasn't enough, and we just don't have the players. I think Conte has sacrificed this game a little to he really doesn't want to lose the North London derby. I think Conte realizes that, you know, you can't, these three games now, this Chelsea game yesterday, the North London derby, and the next Chelsea game we're not going to get away with winning all of them, of course. So I think it was also a bit of a strategy from him to kind of take the risk, you know, and kind of rest players like Reguilon and so on. So at least we'll have a fighting chance in the North London derby. But yeah, I think what also, like, nobody's talking about the rebuilding in January. I don't think anybody is thinking of that. We need 2 or 3 players to get us into the top 4, hopefully, but at least keep us in the top 6, so that we have a fighting chance once we go through the summer window. So we have something to work with there, you know. So we're not starting from scratch once we get there, you know. So I think it's pretty obvious what Conte is saying. He's saying, like, like we also knew. Like I feel like now that Conte has come in, we're seeing Mourinho being redeemed again, just like Mourinho redeemed the last years of Poch. by basically these guys are getting them to the absolute max of what they can get to, and beyond that. And this is what we're not supposed to be in fifth place in the league now with this squad. That's ridiculous, really. So being in fifth place and also expecting to win the Champions League winners in a cup competition and so on, that's just too much for this squad. We would be mid-table at best if Conte wasn't here. So
most definitely.
Yeah. So I think there's nothing to wait around. Like we heard it as soon as the financial statement came out. The game was on. Levy's gonna drag his feet. He's not gonna spend the money, and we're not talking about spending big here. We're talking about spending big, hopefully in the summer. But we're talking about it's absolutely super important to get these players in that can keep us in the top end of the league at least until the summer. So and by the way, we have everybody else is faffing around, so we have a really good opportunity to actually utilize that moment if we back Conte now. So. Yeah, I feel like this fan base is definitely having a huge Stockholm syndrome type feeling about this. We should go. Sorry.
You got to add to this as well. Right now, for getting players in, the top four, most of them have got very important players away at the AFCONs right now. So you get players in, and you could really either A, capitalise, or B, make a road to consolidate the position for the top four, or to capitalise on one of the third or fourth, and we're just stagnating. We're just stagnating. It's like you said. It's like at the moment I don't see the point of Paratici. I just don't see. We brought a player in to sort out transfers and deal with things. We don't
exactly, and I feel like he's almost out of play right now, and maybe the problems in Juventus makes him. With all this financial stuff in Juventus makes him kind of vulnerable. Like he doesn't have the kind of same clout that he would have normally. But I would definitely say that if it was a clear cut, because it's not about the money. Neither Paratici or Conte is about just spending an enormous amount of money. They'll do clever things with smaller amounts. It's simply about being committed and going out getting it and not faffing around, not trying to pressure your opponent. Like when you know what player you need for the money that you have, then you just go get him. And like we've just listened to this Adama speculation, okay, if that's actually it, like Wolves are sending signals they're interested in getting Doherty back, this should be an easy deal. It should be done by now, really, if you were serious about it, So I think I think Sai also alluded to it yesterday really well. Like this. Oh no, Brian, I think you made this point. January is not a surprise. It's the same place in the calendar every year, So when your board comes out yet another transfer window, not like all guns blazing, it's because they're gonna take the temperature, see what they can get away with, pressure, like do their normal shit, instead of just having a plan and going out and executing it. I don't know how many times we have to go through this and how many warning signs you need to see before you understand that it's imperative to get on their back now. I would absolutely love to hear Levy out chants in the next game. I would love to hear that chant being followed up by Antonio singing Antonio's name. It can't be any clearer in my view what's happening right now, and this is what I feared the most. And I can promise you, if this is how this window goes, Antonio will be basically packing his bags and out the summer. He will be working on his next job for the summer. I think I don't think you can pull the wool over his eyes like that. He gives you one chance, and if you basically bullshit him, then he won't trust you again. And that's what, I think if anything, Antonio is gonna have less leeway in terms of the board than he has towards the various players. So I think it's absolutely empirical that the fan base gets on the boards, and especially Levy. Like in terms of handling the board, I think picking one target at a time, and I think Levy is definitely the most vulnerable here. The board will happily sacrifice him if it means saving themselves and so on. So we should definitely be piling on the pressure, I think.
Jory, just before we let you go, I want to ask you this. Game last night, I thought we got away with one at 2-0. It could have been 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Are we still in this tie, or do you think the tie is over in terms of the way we played?
I think like that. I think, to be honest, I think that was kind of Conte's plan. Not to lose, but if we lose, that it would be manageable, something that we could come back from. Like, we have a second chance of this. I think Antonio is that ambitious that he thinks losing 3 points in the next 2 league games is much more. It's going to be much more unforgiving, because that's really 2 6-pointers we're talking about in terms of the top 4, So I think that's kind of how he is set that up. I also think I actually listened to Rory Jennings after the game as well, and he brought up a great point, which I think, in terms of our defense, as good as it's been the most stable part of our team this season. When a club is in a place where the answer to your defensive problems is Eric Dyer, then you're not really serious as a top club, And we have to remind us that as happy as I am with Dyer's progression this season, as super happy as I am with Sanchez, by the way. I thought Sanchez was the man of the match yesterday for my part. I also, just to bring it back to the match, I think what I've seen is whenever Sanchez is not covering Emerson, I feel like Emerson is even worse, I feel like Sanchez is doing a lot of really important work behind Emerson, and Emerson feels more secure with him on the flank than, for example, Tanganga. It's too much inexperience on the right when you have those two guys together, for example. So I think that's definitely one of those I've seen, and also just with Emerson in general, I feel like Emerson is, of course, not a wing back in any traditional way. I feel like he's a fullback. He plays much more like a Cancelo or something like that, like a quite skilled dribbling type fullback. But if his crossing definitely needs to be improved seriously if he's going to have any role in this wing back role. But anyway, I feel like I don't think we're broken in any way. I definitely think all the top 4 stuff is still in the picture, but it's out the window if we don't get 2 or 3 key players. Now, I think Bale is very likely to come in. I think that's very much something that
the problem, Jory, with Bale, he's been injured for the past couple of months.
Yeah, I know, and I don't think Conte will be super happy with it, but he'll take it. And I think that Conte also maybe has a more belief in his fitness coaches and so on than what I mean. I think we all know his team is better than most in football, you know. So there might be some upside in terms of that. I heard this thing that Ericsson released a tweet or something that he might be coming back to England. Did you hear about that? Or?
Yeah, I think it was his agent speaking, talking about how much he loves England and he feels like England is his second home. And yeah, there's rumours hotting up that he could be returning to the Premier League.
Yeah, well, if there's anything to that, then it's because he's talking to Tottenham, in my view. I mean, I think it's kind of like
could be Newcastle, to be fair.
Yep.
No, I don't think so. Listen, guys, he won the league with Conte, and like, you know, he's been lost in the woods until him and Conte got along. And I think like this says Paratici, this says Levy, this says Conte to me, you know. So, you know, it's the kind of deal that Paratici loves doing. It's the kind of money that Levy loves, and Conte got great things out of him once they finally got along, you know. So for me, but of course you never know. But I think if it's gonna, I think that we're the most likely there, and we're, by the way, the most needing really.
Do you think he can still produce the form that he did though when he was at us in his prime?
I think. I mean, he just won the Serie A with Conte. So yeah,
but he's had a massive problem in the summer, hasn't he, with his heart?
Yeah, for sure. And like that's the big. I mean, I both think that Ericsson will be a different player for sure, both in terms of in Conte's hand, but of course mostly in terms of his injury. But I do think that if Conte and Ericsson both say, you know, give it a green light, then I think it's more likely than not that he will actually deliver something. And also, if you think about it in terms of slotting in and being effective quickly, I think Ericsson would be right up there if his form is like, if there's not too much physical work to be done in terms of play and style and understanding, you know, your attack and stuff like that. I think, you know, it would be as easy as it gets to get him to click with that group of players, of course. But I mean, this is. I'm just hoping, like, because actually I would be definitely for that. I wouldn't have been for that before Conte, but because Ericsson went and because I thought like the harshest criticism I could have given Ericsson was his attitude and his almost sense of entitlement towards the end, and that's something that Conte went right after and got the upper hand on. So I'm not worried about that. I know that he will come in. If it's under Conte, it will be with the head in the right space, you know. And
the problem is, Jory, I find. Sorry, the problem is I find with the Ericsson situation is that as much as I would love him back at the club, he was one of my favourite players when he was at Spurs. I mean, when he was on form and when he was in his prime, you know, I'm taking out the last year aside. Before that, he did the most running in our team, most chances created. Whenever he was off form or not on the pitch, we could hardly attack. But the point I want to make is that every time he was on the pitch, he did the most running on that pitch for Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah. Can he do that? Can he still do that?
I mean, I don't think we'll see that player. We won't see I think, I don't know. I mean, I didn't watch many games, but I did watch some Inter games last season, and it's completely different from for example, our team on the Poch, you know. But it was still the playmaker, all day playmaker type scenario. But of course, the running intensity is lower in Serie A, and that's maybe might turn out to be the thing that we can't overcome, you know, because you need a lot of intensity in the Premier League, and if he's not able to give that, then maybe it's a no-go. But for me, it just like it screams these three guys. You know, it screams Conte in terms of football. It screams Partiti in terms of structuring a deal, and it screams Daniel Levy in terms of money and business. You know, like and just in general, the scenic group. You know, like what people have been talking about. To grow your fan base, you need to have glory. You need to win titles. That's completely true, and that's what we've talked about before. Is like good business would be to win some titles and start growing a global brand even more. You know, but the truth is that business model is a high risk, high reward business model. And I ask you guys, look at Levy. Is he a high risk, high reward type guy? No, he is a very conservative, very kind of smoldering, skim off a bit here, skim off a bit there. You know, that's the type of guy he is. You know, and kind of of course, in terms of players, he loves the idea that he's got the upper hand and he's trying to maximize some bad situation for his counterpart or something to his advantage, which he never seems to do anyway. He always gets played every freaking time. Ndombele being maybe the kind of most expensive version of that. But I think like for me, if Eriksen is really seriously coming back to the league, I would be surprised if it's not to us.
Let me ask you this just before I let you go. Last question. If I gave you the option right now, Christian Eriksen or Phil Coutinho, which one would you take?
I would say if it's the Inter, the latter part of the season with Inter, Eriksen, I would take Eriksen.
Okay.
So who would you take?
But I would be super happy with both of them, by the way.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I would sway more to Coutinho, just because of the whole fitness thing. I'm just not sure with Eriksen's condition.
No, but that's what
you forget
I'm
his
saying,
insurance as well. His insurance will be an absolute fortune. And my take on this with Eriksen is, listen, you came to us, you were absolutely fantastic for a moment in time, like a consistent moment in time. Every season you were hot for like 3-4 months where you were like unplayable, and then you went missing. The last year, like you said, you just got a discount. But listen, I just don't want him back. He down tools. I wish him all the best, his family all the best. I hope he goes on to do whatever, whether it's the media, whether it's coaching, whether it's whatever. But it comes back to this whole sentimental thing where we get sentimental with players again. And just because he's available, do we bring him back because he was good for us then? I just can't see it. I would take Coutinho hands down.
Yeah, so when it comes to sentimentality, I have none towards Eriksen. Thing is, I grew up in Denmark, and I know this Danish attitude that he exhibited again and again, and I absolutely can't freaking stand that attitude, you know. So I was always annoyed with that part of him for sure. So it's not about that, but I understand what you're saying, though, Brian, and I agree, and that's why I'm caveating. I'm saying if it's the Eriksen of Inter, the guy that Conte put through the works, froze out, made sure that his head was in the right space, made him a team player, and also has enough fitness that he could stand up to that level of playing at least, then I would want to get him in, because our biggest problem right now is the playmaking role. I think that guy is probably more of a playmaker than Coutinho would be. Also, Coutinho is an unknown in terms of the squad and all of that, whereas Eriksen is definitely much more of a known in that sense. But like I would be super happy with both of them. I just don't think. I really don't think we're in a realistic running for Coutinho. I think that's all Levy PR, to be honest. But if we are, I would be happy. And that's why I'm saying, like, guys, you've got to pile on the pressure now, because that's where the good things happen, you know. If you want these things to go through, you've got to make sure that Levy doesn't dare think about doing anything other than what Conte is asking. So yeah.
All right, Jory. Always great to speak to you,
All
my
right,
friend.
guys.
And we shall
Great-
speak to you
great
very
job.
soon.
See you soon, Jory, brother.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Cheers, Jory.
Levy out.
Levy out.
There's just been some breaking news in terms of there's been a COVID outbreak at Manchester City, and Pep Guardiola has tested positive. 7 Manchester City players are isolating. That's that. We've got a super chat here from
Danny Kiriakou.
And he says, there you go. Big up my brothers Ben and Brian. And then he just says CO. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. Maybe
I think he went to YS, but he forgot to. And also his missus is over here, so if Sada's watching, welcome back, Sada. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah. Let's bring on our next guest, and that is Adam William Cahill. Adam, how's it going, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me okay?
loud and clear, loud and clear. We don't have Cody in the Mac to do your technical issues today.
Yeah, so I got to check up front, make sure it's all good.
Look, absolute shit show last night. 2-0 against Chelsea.
Great way to start the conversation.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
truthful way.
let's just start and just get straight into it, man. I mean, did Conte get it wrong last night?
Yeah, I think that yes, if you look at it from the perspective of like, if we look at it thinking that we have all options available to us apart from the 2 who were out, or 2 or 3 who are out injured or with COVID or whatever, then you would think, yeah, starting Doherty out on the left was a very strange choice. And in terms of the substitution, I would definitely have brought off Hojbjerg for Winks. I don't understand bringing Skip off, but the thing is though, like I'm saying, I think he made some mistakes given the information that we have. For all we know, Skip's fitness might not be great, and that's why he took him off instead of Hojbjerg. We don't know the minutia. So at the end of the day, one thing we have to say is that all managers, including Conte, are liable to make mistakes, and they're entitled to make mistakes. And I'm glad that if he's going to make mistakes, that he's going to do it in this game. Because to be perfectly honest with you, I never thought for a second that we were going to have any other result than this. For me, like you've got to just look at it in the sense that when you weigh up Chelsea's team versus our team, they will blow us out of sight the vast majority of the time. It's a totally different story coming to the lane, but Chelsea have a better squad than us at the moment. And I every time I see Conte doing an interview and he's constantly kind of saying, look, you need to give us time. And he's saying that more and more often. It's like, we still need time. I know we're in January now, but we still need time. We're not going to have a complete and utter overhaul of the team in a January transfer window. So are we still in it? Yeah, we could go. It's entirely possible that they come to us. Look at Chelsea's run in the Premier League at the moment. 4 draws and a win in their last 5 games, right? So they are get-atable. And especially if they come to us, I think there is a possibility for us to beat them 3-0. Like it could happen. But I didn't expect anything. The only thing I didn't expect last night is for Tanganga to have such a howler of a game. But I didn't think that we were going to come away from that with anything other than what we got, to be honest, in terms of a result. And as you say, it could have ended up being 4-0, 5-0, realistically, if Lukaku had put that first shot he had away and whatnot. So I'm disappointed with individual player performances. But because I didn't have any hopes that we were ever going to win it, I'm not feeling too dejected personally this morning. I know for you guys, having been in the stadium, it must be an awful thing to walk away from. But just from having watched it at home, it's just like, yeah, well, look, that's par for the course. It was very, very unlikely that we were going to come away from that game with anything else. And we could hopefully go to the next game and do something. But
look, I say it time and time again. I've been at Stamford Bridge plenty of times over the years, and to be honest, I'm not going to lie, it's the same shit every single year at Stamford Bridge, barring that one time when we won 3-1 there. That's our only win there in my lifetime. That's our only win there in my lifetime. And it's the same stuff over and over again. It was the same in the Poch era when we were at our best, apart from that one win. Lackluster performance there. year in, year out. So it's not really the result that gets me. It's the manner of the defeat, the performances on the pitch. And one player I want to get your opinion on is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I mean, what is going on with him at the moment? Is he just overplayed? Is that the situation we're seeing at the moment?
To be honest with you, like I love it when Pierre turns it on, when he's actually, when we can see him dominating the midfield. He really makes you believe like he could potentially be a world-class player, but I think those moments are too few and far between. And I think Pierre is one of these kind of players that, and I know, Brian, you might not be happy with me saying this because I know we've talked about him being captain before, but I think he's one of these kinds of players that, to be honest, he does enough running around and enough kind of trying to bully players to make it seem like he's doing an awful lot more than he really is. And then on the games, then when he's playing against a superior team, he's going to be left wanting. He's going to in the vast majority of altercations, he comes up short. And then the one thing I've always found with Pierre as well is that everyone has always given Harry Winks abuse for being a back passer of the ball, and I find that Højbjerg does that just as often. Like Højbjerg will more often than not, if he's going to pass once he has possession, he'll pass the ball back. And this is why I think that Winks is the one now that it seems to be the most prolific at the creative passes. We don't have a creative midfielder, right? We really don't. So it sucks not to have someone like. Hopefully, we'll have if we can get a continue type coming in, that'd be great. But Winks is the one doing all of the kind of has the forward momentum, and he should have come on for Højbjerg, because I think Højbjerg was very, very poor, very, very poor last night. And I do think that, as much as I think to a certain extent his attitude kind of, I think, conned me into thinking that maybe he'd be a great captain, I do think he's overrated. I genuinely at this stage think that Højbjerg is a bit overrated.
Okay, so I mean, I wouldn't go as far as overrated, but I agree with everything else you've just said. Everything. And always I go for him to be the captain because of his attitude, because of his commitment, because of his dedication. But you've got to be a good footballer as well, and you've got to stand up and lead by example in games like this. And this game was calling for one of those Pierre-Emile Højbjerg where he rallies the troops, he gets in everyone's face. Not saying he alters the game himself, but his attitude and his dedication and his commitment does. And in the last few games they have been lacking. As hard as it is for me to say that, it has been lacking, and I agree with everything you have just said. Apart from when you say overrated, I think it's mainly due to, like we've been saying, he is so overplayed. He has this engine which we take for granted, because he is so athletically fit or doesn't get injuries very easily, has a quick recovery. We're just like, right, you play, and like I said, Harry Winks deserved to come on a lot earlier in that game. Brian Hill, remember we said here on the day before, I was like, do you reckon he might throw a curveball and whack him in? Well, he came on and he made a huge impact.
Yeah.
Brian Hill should have been playing left wing back from the beginning, I think, to be honest, which is where I said
that. You called that Brian Hill at wing back a long time ago.
Yeah, I genuinely, I think he's fit for purpose for that role. But I also think, as far as the Højbjerg thing is concerned, lads, I think it's also, I don't think the 3-4-3 is as good for him as a 3-5-2. I think there needs to be more of a crowd in the middle. And I think going up against Chelsea as well, if we wanted to get a bit of a better result, it would have made more sense to me to have an extra player in midfield, try and maintain possession a bit better, and then whenever we had the opportunity to get, like, all you really want going to Stamford Bridge is one away goal. That's all you want, really, isn't it? I mean, and any more than that is a dream. And so the best thing that we could have done was play a little bit deeper in the midfield, have three central midfielders. Højbjerg would have played, I think, plays a lot better in that scenario. And then we could have probably maintained possession a bit better, blocked them off a bit better, got them on the counter maybe. But yeah, I think in the two, Højbjerg is not as good as people think he is to be playing in the two in the middle. I think there needs to be three central midfielders.
I agree with that. And I actually remember sitting down after the Carabao Cup final last season with Matt Hayes, David Harris, and my brother all sitting down, all very depressed, talking about the game. And I was saying to them then, I think Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is massively overrated by our fan base. He's not massively overrated by the rest of the Premier League, just by our fan base, in my opinion. And I think that he needs to be doing a lot more. I think that when he has his good performances, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
But like you say, I think they're just too few and far between. I really believe that.
Yeah, definitely, because I think it is a case that he does make it look like he's doing an awful lot more than he is. And you're right, it's our fan base. I don't think the rest of, all of the neutrals and all of the other teams believe the Højbjerg is world class. I think it is literally just our fans kind of talking up a little bit too much. And I think he does need to be rotated more frequently. I think that Skip and Winks need an opportunity together in the center of the pitch. But I also think it should be a 3-5-2. I think was our absolute best. With the players that we've got, that's the best option. But I mean, what do you think now in terms of like I think that the chances of us coming away the chances of us getting into the final now are definitely incredibly slim. Do you think? I mean, we're not going to go out against Chelsea and play it and just give it to them, give the game away at the Lane. But is it a better idea now, considering that this match is going to happen in January? We may not get reinforcements for another few weeks. Are we better off, if we're going to come away with a trophy this year? Are we better off focusing on the FA Cup than continuing to pursue the?
It's a very difficult situation, very difficult question. I mean, for me, the league has got to be number one priority this season, because we need to get back into Europe next season. We have to. If we're going to make a big push in the summer transfer window, like the rumours are, we need to be back in Champions League football. But I just can't see us finishing top four with the squad we have. I just can't see it.
With the squad we got, we're not.
We need at least 2 or 3 signings to fight on any fronts this season. Never mind, you can say, very well, we can focus on the FA Cup, we can focus on the Premier League, we can focus on it, we can focus on that. But ultimately, we're going to be coming up against these same teams in these same tournaments. So we're not good enough. We're not good enough, and we need signings if we're going to compete.
I think we will get 2 signings, though. I can't see us getting to the end of January and not getting 2 signings. I'd be blown away if that were the case. And I'm not saying they're going to be elite, but I'd be so confused, especially considering it looks like Doherty might be going back to Wolves, and there might be other players going out on loan. I don't think it makes any sense for us not to get other fresh legs in. And again,
let me rephrase it then. Let me rephrase it. If we don't bring in players of the right caliber, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, but the ones that we're looking at the moment seem to be the right caliber, though. I haven't heard mention of any players where I'm like, seriously, him. Yeah. So hopefully they are, that there's ambition there. I think at the end of the day, as much as we can be all Levy out and everything, and I understand the sentiment, I think that bringing in Paratici showed ambition. I think bringing in Conte showed ambition, and I think that that has allowed us to be able to look for a higher caliber of player who will be willing to play for us, because we are a big club. No matter what anybody else says, we're a big club, and we have one of the best managers in the world at the helm. I think that we will get some decent players in, and I think as much I totally get what you're saying. With the team we have now, it'd be a struggle to get to top 4. But at the end of the day, we're in 6th position now. We've got 3 games in hand over a lot of the teams above us, and then if we win all our games in hand, we're definitely in the 4th place. There's a lot of the teams above us are dropping points here, there, and everywhere. Man City are the only ones that are just steaming it, and so I think top 4 is definitely has to be the number one priority. And then you're absolutely you're on the money when you say that the most important thing is to get in the players. To get into the position to be in the Champions League next season, so that when we do if we have a big intake of stars during the summer, we're raring to go for next season. If we just get top 4 and nothing else this season, that is a win for us at the moment, given because we are overperforming. There is no team overperforming like we are right now, and it's all thanks to Conte. So we should still need. I'm still thinking optimistically, even after a defeat.
Yeah, I get that, but you talk about these games in hand, and you talk about in somewhat pole position, maybe to finish in top 4 in terms of our league position and points. But our next 2 games in the league are Arsenal and Chelsea. So, and not even that. Now we got actually Leicester in between there.
Yeah.
So we got 3 very, very difficult games. None of them are gimme games. Arsenal are really on form at the moment. I'm really worried about that game. Leicester,
that is at our place though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Leicester, anything can happen at Leicester away, and Chelsea away. We saw what happened last night at Chelsea away. So if we don't pick up wins in the next 3 games, then those 3 games in hand are irrelevant.
I think we can take it to Arsenal, and I think we can take it to Leicester, though. I would be hopeful for those. And every team is at some point in the season is going to go through. Oh no, this is a nightmare stage of the league now, where we've got a run of really tough teams. But everyone has to go through that and pass it, and it'll happen to everybody else as well. It's not just us. Everybody has to face Chelsea. Everybody has to face Arsenal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Arsenal and Chelsea are the teams that we're fighting for the top 4.
Yeah, true. But I think as much as Arsenal have been in a good run of form, I do think that people are. I think it's far more likely for us to have a strong finish to the season than them. I think they're being very, very fortunate at the moment. I think they will start to fall away. That's just a sort of a semi-educated guess, but I think I think we'll finish stronger. I really do.
I hope so, man. Hope you're right. Any closing words from you, Brian?
Yeah, no, just obviously there's a certain discussion we just had. I don't know why people will be surprised if we don't sign anyone. I just don't see how people will be surprised anymore. Yes, we've got Conte. Yes, we've got Paratici. Yes, we can attract a higher caliber player. It also means we can have rumours for higher caliber players that are just hype, that just don't come in, that just don't go through. I want us to sign 2 players. I've got a feeling we won't. I've got a feeling it'll be 1. But yeah, it's just because this guy's come in doesn't mean all of a sudden all our prayers are answered. There's a long way to go, and I just don't see. People are saying 2-3 players are coming. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. But we live at home, like you said. Now with these 3 games, especially with the Leicester one sandwiched in, that is a tough, grueling fixture list. Where, like you said, I completely agree. Those 3 games in hand we have could be completely irrelevant, because they would have taken, or could have taken point, or we haven't taken maximum points. This has
it changes from a necessity, an insurance policy to win those games, to a necessity.
Yep.
If we lose these games.
Exactly.
If we're only going to bring in 1 player, how would you feel if it was Coutinho? If it was literally just 1 and it was him?
Fine, absolutely fine. We need, look. The way I look at it, we do not have creativity. Every single Spurs fan is screaming out saying, "Give me some creativity." We have no creativity. One thing you do know, if Coutinho comes in, is he will create. We don't know if he'll get to the heights of Liverpool or Bayern Munich, or he'll be he will create. He will not need to settle in like a Dembele. He will have the stamina. He will provide something. So if it is just him, we are crying out for creativity. We need it. So you get that with him. So if it's just him, then fine.
I wouldn't be happy with that. I wouldn't be happy with just Coutinho. I really wouldn't. I think it's clear that we're lacking creativity. Yeah, you're completely right, and he would be a big plus for us. I mean, as much as I said no to him a few days ago when we were doing the update, I do think it would be a good signing. I do think he'll add that creativity that we desperately need. But you can see, it's clear for everyone to see that the right back slot is in massive need of upgrading. Yeah, Emerson could do a job in certain games, but at the moment, he's letting us down more than he's helping us. And in terms of his crossing ability, we need someone on that right-hand side. How many times is Emerson in so much space on the right-hand side? And they're not even bothered about him putting crosses in the box. They're not even bothered. We need a player, I like Kieran Trippier, someone that can put the ball in the box, put it on someone's head so we could get some goals in the box, because we're getting no decent crosses in, especially from the right and even from the left-hand side as well. But I'm willing to give Reggie, I think Reggie has got it in his locker, but I haven't seen it from Emerson. I've seen 1 or 2 crosses here and there, but on a consistent basis, I think I would be happy with a new right-back and a Coutinho for January.
That delighted. Yeah, that delighted. But the one thing, sorry, I'll just be very quick. The one thing that I say with Coutinho over the right back is at least Coutinho will give you that crossing ability that Emerson can't. I know we need someone because bombing down the right, but everything that guy's missing there, you do get further forward with Coutinho, but I completely get what you're saying because yesterday was the first time I was like, right, you know what, this right wing back is an actual necessity.
You didn't watch a Watford game?
Sorry, Adam.
No, I think you're absolutely right about Emerson. The guy can't pass wind, and I think that the fact that he links up so well with Lucas, I think that they kind of have this, this shorthand or this telepathy between them because they're Brazilians and they're spending a lot of time together on and off the training ground and whatnot. And I think that to an extent they kind of understand each other very well. So whenever you do see Emerson pull off a decent pass, it's typically with Lucas. But any other time, it's like actually there was a report that came out this morning that said Son and Kane gave Emerson a bollocking yesterday. They were fuming with him because of they weren't getting any delivery whatsoever. And so I can understand like the frustration. Like Emerson was one of the ones where I was like, oh, we are so gonna regret not taking Tomiyasu instead. I really felt like he was the right choice. And
the thing is with Tomiyasu, right? I think if we had Tomiyasu now, I don't think he'd be playing in that role. I think he'd be playing in the right centre back role.
Oh, you reckon?
Possibly, yeah.
Then where's Romero?
Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm just saying if we bought Tomiyasu, that's the role he would play. Maybe Romero be in the middle or somewhere else, but I think that's the role he's more suited to than an actual wing back.
Yeah. So who like do you have any ideas in your mind as to who the target would be to come in and play in that right wing back role?
To be honest, I don't think this was the long-term solution. But if we could have brought in a Kieran Trippier from now until the end of the season, at least he could cross a bloody ball. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd bring in a Tyreek Lamptey. I don't really have that many names off the top of my head, but we're desperate.
Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, I'll take Trent.
We'll take Trent. We'll take Trent or Reece James. Bids incoming.
Well, look, you never know if we got Adama Traore, we could be surprised at how well he might actually slot in there. Because I don't know what his crossing is like, to be honest. But we know that he can tear through players like nobody's business, and there's no one stopping him.
Or that Lazzari, he does that job perfectly for Lazio. Right wing back role, gets crosses in time and time again. He's been linked with us. So I mean, there's the players out there. There's players out there, and let's just get it done, Levy, man. Just get it done. I think those are the two positions we desperately need this January. Yeah,
we need to message them some way. Get all the fans together. We need a creative midfielder and a right wing back and get it done.
Yeah, but I'm sure Conte knows that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. The guy's the man, and again, I will keep trusting him all the way to the end of the season, no matter what happens.
Completely. But Adam, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend, and
same as.
Speak to you next time. Hopefully after a win next time.
See you later.
Well, it's Morecambe next, isn't it? So let's hope so.
The magic of the FA Cup.
Nothing is a given, my friend. I was at Colchester a few years ago, so
I forgot about that game. That was penalties as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
See you later.
Well, here's hoping we'll be dancing now.
Yeah, definitely. See you later.
See you later, buddy.
Super chat from Do. And he says, we are not going to get anyone this window. # Levy out. And talking about Levy out,
I think get spicy.
I think we're going to bring on this next guest, which is Sean Butler. Sean, you got a big smile on your face. What's going on?
Let me just do my exercise. Let's just do this. Okay, let's go, Sean.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when the team put in a performance like that, just to try and get through the day, to be honest. But how are you?
I am. You know what, Ben? I actually woke up this morning, and last night I wasn't feeling great before the game, and then I watched the game on the couch and almost fell asleep halfway through it. It was disappointing. I'll say that to start with, but it was. I think I woke up this morning feeling like we're still in the tie. 2-0 down. It won't take an entire miracle for us to have something to fight for. We can get an early goal next week in front of the Tottenham fans. Good atmosphere. I feel like there's always going to be a chance for us to get back into the game and to try and snatch something. So I'm probably not as despondent about the result as I'm probably in the same ballpark you are, Ben. Right? I think you made the same point. Like we got away with one, and we're still in it. So. But ultimately, there's lots of things to be worried about. Super concerned, and I'll hold my hands up. On other channels of late, I've been making the point that I actually fear playing against some of the lower league teams or the lower teams in the league more than I would playing against some of the teams that are more willing to come out and play against us, because I feel like we don't have the team that can break down a stubborn team that sits back 10 men behind the ball. And against the Chelsea, Cities, Liverpools, I feel like they're not so much worried about how Tottenham are going to do. They play their own game, and that gives our strengths, counter-attacking football, etc., more of an opportunity. And last night, albeit we didn't have the best team, obviously, but last night showed that my optimism in that regard was a bit misplaced, I think.
Yeah, but look, let's be honest. In the team we had last night, who was actually out? We had Reguilon out, we had Eric Dyer out, right? And obviously Romero. With two players out, we shouldn't be that weak. It's been such neglect from the ownership, from the club, to bring in these players. The squad has been dropping and dropping year on year on year on. To have two players out and for it to go so wrong like that, I mean, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. The players on the pitch yesterday, Pierre, Tanganga, Doherty, Emerson, I mean, just not good enough last night. And how are we supposed to achieve what we want to achieve this season with this current crop of players? How?
We can't, right? We obviously can't. But like I would always, urge people. I don't want to get into a Levy debate. Me and Brian had one for 2 hours yesterday. And also I had to promise Phil Lattis in the background that I wouldn't get into a 3-hour debate with Brian again. So I'll stay away from it. We'll say that for another day. But I take everyone's
rumble.
Yeah. Also, I was smashing a placemat over my head very violently during our debate.
Yeah. So
no, go on.
Yeah. So look, there's definitely 100%. There's players that need to be improved throughout the squad, and I still carry some optimism that we'll do some business this month. I don't think we'll do everything we need to do. I'm hopeful that Levy's going to prove me somewhat right, and that he'll get things busy between this window and next window. And the last thing, or the only thing I'll mention about it, is the financial side of Tottenham's finances are such, and that they were the same for Arsenal, that after you invest £1 billion in a football stadium, it's just you have to be a little bit more frugal over the last few years. And Tottenham they've invested poorly. The players they invested in haven't turned out to be any good. So that's the only thing I'll say on the matter regarding Daniel Levy's lack of investment. I think it's poor investment, not lack thereof. But in terms of what we can do now, look, I also feel like you have to hold your hands up and say that we were all scratching our head. Even if we had the squad, if we all knew the team and the players that were available, the players that were out, I'd struggle to find a single Tottenham fan that would have picked the same 11 in the same positions using the same formation as Conte did last night, even if you knew that you had no Eric Dyer, even if you knew that Reguilon was injured, right? Or tired or whatever was wrong with him. I think that the vast majority of Tottenham fans saw that starting 11 and cringed and winced. And then when we saw the way that the Tottenham team not only set up, but how they started, it looked, for all intents and purposes, like you'd be easy as just on plain sight to sit there and go, well, Tanganga was completely out of sorts. He was a boy amongst men in the first 20 minutes of the game until he calmed down. And what was Romero doing on the right? The sloppy passing, and there was 2 stupid goals, farcical goals. I think the Sky Sports commentator called it. You could easily point to the back 3 or the back 5 and say that was all your fault, because that's where the mistakes happened. But I can't believe how deep the midfield sat yesterday. I don't think that Højbjerg was. This is like the 3rd or 4th game in the row now where he's looking like nothing like the player he was for Tottenham last season. I thought Skippy was. I mean, listen, I'm never going to say a bad word about him because I think he's a superb talent, a prospect, and a breath of fresh air. But yesterday, I think he was. I thought he was sloppy. With his passing. I said at the start of the season with Skippy, his peripheral vision sometimes on the ball is poor. He's looking where he's passing. He's not looking around what's happening slightly outside of that. And over the last few games, I haven't had to say that because I think he's been brilliant improvement game over game. But last night, I think it went back to what I was seeing at the start of the season.
The thing is, Sean, with Skip, in my opinion, I actually wasn't displeased with Skip's performance last night. I mean, when you're talking about Skip and Højbjerg, just got bypassed time and time again yesterday. His touches on the ball were dreadful. He was just doing embarrassing things on the football pitch last night, Pierre. At least with Skip, he was putting a shift in. He was, making himself known. You can see the passion was there from Ollie Skip. At least we're seeing that from him. With Højbjerg, we just not seeing that at all.
Yeah, I think, and the last guy, Adam, made a really interesting point. That Højbjerg, in an effort, like sometimes I think we gloss over how ineffectual he has been because we see him in moments when there's close-up shots of him getting in the face of other players, and that somehow gives us this impression of him being a fighter for the shirt. But that's after the ball's gone out of play. He'll have a shove and a push whilst the throw-in's about to come back in. During the 90 minutes when the ball was around him in play, he let it. He let it. Let players walk past him time and time again. And Chelsea players that, Saul looked like an absolute superstar last night against the Tottenham team, and he hasn't done anything for Chelsea of note.
He's pretty much been hauled off at half time every time he's played.
Has he?
Pretty much, apart from yesterday,
Yeah, he's like a squad player at best, probably someone that they would look to get out of the club if they could. And then last night he comes in and puts in a worldie, and that just goes to show you that how volatile Tottenham's performances can be.
Dr. Tottenham.
Talking on that, what do you reckon it is? Because I just don't get it. What more motivation do they need? Semi-final of a cup, check.
Yeah.
Possibility of a trip to Wembley, check. Against a bitter rival, check. Knowing the fans will be there to support them, check. Conte's return to Stamford Bridge, check. How many more motivational things do they need to go into this kind of game to put in a performance? Because the fact that Ben's been there once in his lifetime and seen a win, once.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever heard of a Chelsea win, obviously you went to that game, but the only other time from that was when Gary Lineker scored in his first season away at Stamford Bridge. That's the only times I've ever known. So I'm one up on you. But I mean, what more motivation do they bloody well need to actually put in a decent performance?
Yeah, and I'll add to that as well, the threat that these players won't, they certainly won't be in the starting 11 if we get players in, right? So they should be playing for their shirts, they should be playing for their careers, or if they want to move, they should be playing for a move. Phil made a really interesting point to me in the background that, there's not a single mid-table team in Tottenham in the Premier League today that would have looked at any of the kind of bit part players for Tottenham and decided to make a move for those players. So yeah, I don't know, Brian. I'll tell you the other point though. I guess just playing devil's advocate, the other partial bit of perspective, it's worth reminding everybody. Try and find a reason to be positive, given how tough it has been at Chelsea. Given the fact that we've only won once in 20 years or whatever it is. Par for the course, right? Tottenham don't often surprise for the positive, but we still have the second leg at home. Tottenham can't sit back in the second leg. We have to go for it now. And when Tottenham don't have the option of sitting back, I genuinely think that Tottenham play better. So you've got nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to lose, everything to gain. So in the second leg, we'll do it. Obviously, it doesn't bode well for the Premier League leg against Chelsea the week after, or 4 days later. But at the start of the season, everyone would look at certain games on the fixture list and say, that's going to be, I'll take a draw there, but I'll expect a loss, right? And so, let's just keep a little bit of level head and perspective here. We didn't have the best team out, albeit I know they had a far weakened team, but their squad is, far more capable than ours. We definitely need reinforcements. You were mentioning the right wing back spot, Ben. I've got a name for you that I think would be a superstar. Mazraoui from Ajax. I think he's out of contract. He's 6 foot tall. I think one of the problems that I always have with the idea of signing Lamptey is he's so small, and the Tottenham team is generally a small team anyway. And then if you bring him into the team, versus Emerson Royale, I think Emerson Royale's 6'1", Mazraoui's 6 foot. I think you need some height in your wing back spot as well, just to defend the back post with a little bit more security. And I think Mazraoui would be a phenomenal signing. I know he won't be short of suitors, but he is out of contract in the summer, so he'd be someone that I'd be looking at if Tottenham can get busy.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is really interesting. I mean, someone in the comments saying he's going to Barcelona.
Really?
But
Okay.
I don't know how credible that is, but it's just a comment. But you look, I'm not sure. I don't know too much about him, but if he can add something going forward to this team, then yeah, of course, I'm all for it. But look, Sean, anything else from you?
Not really. I just I don't know if you've already mentioned it, but I did see on Sky Sports that Tottenham apparently are not interested in signing Coutinho.
Yeah, that's what I was showing.
Yeah, that's
Brian
just
on
what
the
we're
laptop.
showing. We were going to try and keep that
Oh, really?
quiet because I'm going to try. I've tried so very hard to stay calm right now.
Sean, you only just mentioned that because you want a Levy debate, don't you?
I really am trying to stay. I
Not
really
today.
am trying to
Not-
stay
not
calm
again.
because the bullshit that this club does and the bullshit that goes around this club and the bullshit that we accept is just totally.
Well, that must be a
whether we were
conversation, though,
excited, whether we were interested in him or not, once again, it's another Daniel Levy media circus rumour. We wanted him with Poch. We wanted him with this one. And once again, like Adam was just saying, when he said, when obviously we can accept or create and attract a higher calibre of player, once again, this happens, and he's going Premier League. He'll go to a Liverpool, a Villa with Gerrard, or he'll go to a Newcastle, and he'll bloody create. But once again, there's another viable target that we have just let slip through our bloody fingers, and we're all going to be happy about it because it's all acceptable under the Daniel Levy bullshitting parasite fucking journey we're on. I'm so happy I wasn't going to stay. I was staying calm. Jesus, I've got Levy Tourette's. I really have got Levy Tourette's. Oh, jeez.
Sean,
For the
what have you
benefit
done,
of
man?
everybody,
What
I
have you
think
done?
I'm just gonna politely not respond.
Oh,
We'll save it for another day. But
Yeah, February the 1st, mate. I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait, Sean. I cannot wait.
Sean,
all right, guys.
have a good
Thanks
one.
ever so
Have
much
a
for
good
having me
day,
on.
my friend, and we'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye.
Take care, man. Super chat here from Azad Hamid. He says, did anyone notice Conte was not his usual aggressive self out there yesterday? Did you notice that, Brian?
Say again?
Did you notice that
Yeah.
Conte wasn't his
He
usual
wasn't. I mean,
aggressive
do
self
you know,
out
at
there?
one point I saw Tuchel at one point. I don't know what had happened in the game, but he was actually jumping up and down on the spot like he was doing a skipping rope. He was going crazy. Conte was doing a couple of. He was not his aggressive up down self. That was for sure.
Irish Hotspur in the comments saying, Brian, I have to say you're very calm today.
He's one that knows more than most about my Levy Tourette's. I have been diagnosed with it. And it's incurable, unfortunately. Well, it's curable the day he leaves, but yeah, fun times ahead. Fun
Yeah.
times ahead.
Let's bring on our next guest. I'm keeping his seat warm. Phil Latiz.
Hollywood.
Phil, how's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad you got your seat sorted, so you're not on the floor like I was.
Yeah,
but...
you know, I'll just do. I'll do Phil Latiz.
That's better.
It was like
There
that.
he
It was
is.
like... Literally, I kept looking over him like that. I was like, wait, Phil? It was good for... How are you, Phil, though, brother?
Yeah, obviously just another appalling one. It's funny you just mentioned about Conte. We were just talking about it in the back there. I've noticed that the last couple of games is kind of non-animated, but there was an interesting bit just before we went on last night. You know, Sky Sports, they do the roundup where they do literally 30 seconds per club. They got to Tottenham and they went, Antonio Conte has given his recommendations to the board. Everything is completed, and now it's over with the club's hierarchy. And you're just like, brilliant. That's like, what? So who knows what's going on? But that performance last night, I think the worst thing for me was it was just absolutely no passion anywhere. Second best. It for me felt like it was the last warm-up game before, you know, European Cup final on Sunday, and it's like, don't go and get injured. I don't know how you motivate someone to play for a badge or play against your rivals, or it's a semi-final. They all talk about it. No one at Tottenham, in that current Tottenham team, has won anything with Tottenham. And the way they're playing, it's not going to happen for a long time.
Yeah. You know, first 20 minutes kind of set the tone for the game, didn't it, yesterday? And what I've been noticing for the past couple of weeks, really, or past month, or for a long time, actually, that for the first 20 minutes of games, we just don't turn up. We start the game very slowly, take our time to get into it. We've been lucky over the past maybe month that we haven't come up against proper sides and we didn't get found out. But yesterday, it was the same situation and we were found out against the better side. I mean, what is it about this side that take us so long to get into games?
I don't know, because, it's obviously clear. They went in at half-time. He obviously read the riot act, and then they went, oh, well, we better do something about it. So maybe his tactical approach should be read the riot act before they go out for the first half. But it was exactly the same against Norwich. And, yeah, in the end, it was a comfortable win. But by the time Mora scored, we could already have been 2 down because they just slow out the blocks. It's like we've got all the time in the world. It doesn't matter. But as soon as you're playing quality opposition, and, I wouldn't have said they were that brilliant yesterday, Chelsea, but they were just more up for it than we ever were.
Yeah. I think that they were there for the taking in the second half. I really believe that. I mean, if we had a bit more quality about us, we could have got back in that game.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm going to question his tactics there by playing probably our worst player in the position at Matt Doherty and then playing him out of position. You had Ben Davis sat next to him. Surely that was a Rodon or someone like that to be able to step in. And I just didn't get it. Even Brian Hill at left back, but it just, I don't know. It was just so far off the pace yesterday. And we've sat there talking about it during the day. And as the night went on, you just kind of had that sense of feeling it was coming.
Yeah, so true. In terms of the transfer window, what do you expect us to do? What do you expect us to do? What do you want us to do?
Well, I'd like to go and get 15 new players, but it's the problem is it's been so long in coming. Where you just look across that first team, and there's a case for somebody in pretty much every position. Again, when he first came out and said centre-back and right wing-back, I'm thinking there's more important. But when you look at it last night, you're like, it does feel the necessity. Kane needs some support. He needs someone to play alongside it.
Does he?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
it's probably hard going for the last 8 seasons all by yourself up front, isn't it?
What do you mean? He had Vincent Janssen to help him.
He had Llorente.
Yeah.
He had Adebayor at the start. Come on.
Soldado.
Well, there you go then. So that's what I mean. Let's bring them all back. But again, it will just go back to, poor recruitment, poor investment. It's that cheap option, isn't it? That was it. Vinicius last year.
Yeah.
We signed him. This shocking player. Okay, he got a few goals, but most of them were in the lower rounds of the cups. But when you're looking at 40 million for someone like him, and then in the meantime Liverpool signed Jota for whatever it was, 30, 35, you're like, where's our recruitment? I just don't know. I don't know what goes on in the club. I really don't. But it's just getting beyond.
I think our recruitment team were planning a meeting to meet about recruitment during the window. That's what they do. That's right.
There's no dates in January, so we'll meet on the 5th of February.
Yeah, something like that. So
it's just a joke.
I mean, Conte clearly came out, didn't he? And he said, I knew pretty much within the first 7 days. And I think he was being generous there. I think he just needed to just rubber seal what he already thought. But there is no way him and Paratici have not had a conversation in the last 6-8 weeks to say, he's no good. I need this. I need that. Let's hope it's all just a big smoke screen ready to, to cover it up, and all the players will come flooding in. But we all know that's nowhere going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the game yesterday, obviously we lost 2-0. Could have been more. Could have been a lot more. Do you feel like we're still in the tie, or did they dominate too much yesterday? And you think, yeah, we're not going to win this?
As a typically deluded fan, we go, if we get an early goal, we could come back in it. It's only 2. The risk is if they step it up as well, they can carve us open at any problem. Dyer may or may not be back. Again, we don't know what's going on with the left back situation. Creativity in the middle. There's still for me. There's too much to do, and I can't see it. I just can't see it.
In a weird way, under Nuno, we actually performed better against Chelsea, didn't we? I know we lost 3-0 that day, But in the first half, I thought we were actually really good that day. So would you put that down? Is it just lack of, Dyer was out yesterday, Reguilon was out yesterday. Is that what you put it down to? Or was it just the system that Conte chose?
No, the other big thing with when we played them at home, obviously, forget the second half, but they came out of the blocks like it was, the semi-final of a cup, and it was our London rivals, so they were all over it. And then Chelsea changed their formation, and that's what got them back in, which we didn't. But for that first half, we were absolutely, utterly committed. Whereas last night, I mean, poor old Tanganga. I mean, there was a bit where he was obviously trying too hard. But I saw one bit where we were watching him, and he comes rushing out of the box to go and pick up one of their midfielders, who literally spins him, knocks the ball out to whoever was on the left, and Tanganga just kind of jogged back into the box. He didn't have a clue who was in front of him, behind him, to the side. He just looked absolutely lost last night.
Yeah. I remember when the own goal went in, he was like so deflated, wasn't he? I mean, obviously it's an own goal. Harry Kane went and gave him a little slap on the face and said, come on. But yeah, he just looked like a lost boy. But this is the thing with Chelsea. They brought on Conte in that game and it changed the game. And we made our subs, but they brought on yesterday Loftus-Cheek, Pulisic, and who was the first sub they brought on again? They took off a Mason Mount. I can't remember now.
I'll tell you in a second who they brought on. But their bench was better than our starting lineup, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They brought on...
And it's the trust in our bench,
Pulisic,
isn't it?
Kovacic,
when you look across the bench...
Kovacic. That's what they do. They just go, here you go, off you go, in you go. They've got the strength in depth. They have the strength in depth, and they can do that. And they've done it for us for years. Remember the semi-final at Wembley when they had Hazard on the bench? But
they did that battle of the bridge, didn't they? When Hazard come on and
came on and scored. It's what Chelsea can do. That is what a quality strength in depth team can do with rotation. Listen, I'm not saying we need to get to the... I'd love to be at the quality of Chelsea, but they have the option to do that. And no one looked out of place for Chelsea yesterday, did they? No one.
No, there was a couple of the players in there that I hadn't seen before. I think you picked him up earlier. That Sol and whoever their left centre back was. But looked,
he should have been sent off, shouldn't he?
Yeah, should have. But again, even if you look at that, it's like, where's the passion? There's one yellow card yesterday. So where's a challenge going in that makes you mark or anything like that? It just
very far from the 7 or 8 bookings that we got in the Battle of the Bridge that day.
I'd have loved to have been at that game. That game must have been something.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you wasn't?
I wasn't there, no. But look, I mean, go on.
No, I was just going to say, it's like on our channel tomorrow, we've got Steve Perryman coming on, and I spoke to him yesterday morning, sort of before the game, and he was talking about what Bill Nicholson used to do, and what he said is that he marks you on 5 things. And he gives you 2 marks for each one. So it's like fitness in your position, commitment. He said the number 5 was always how good you are in an extreme situation. So can you do an overhead kick and everything? And he's like, he always instilled in us that it's really important to get your basics and work down the table rather than start at the bottom and work up. And he said, once you started doing that, he said it just embedded so much more into your players because they just did the basics. And that's what we didn't do last night. And a typical example of that would be Dele Alli. So he could come on and score an overhead kick, but he's not fit enough. He doesn't do all the basics. So it means that he's a player that you just don't trust. And, it doesn't feel at the moment that sort of mentality is there or being talked about.
Very, very true. I think you're absolutely spot on.
The words of Bill Nick, you can't really say much more than that, can you?
Cannot say anything against
That is
Bill
gospel,
Nick,
that is law, and bang on the money.
Yeah, but Phil, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend. I'll keep keeping your seat warm. Don't you worry about that.
You look after it. And the Gregs.
Yeah, and the Gregs.
I forgot about Gregs. Well done, Phil. Well done.
You know where Brian's going as soon as this stream's over.
You know damn right.
There you go.
See you later,
guys.
Phil.
You take
See
care.
you later, buddy.
All right, bye.
That was Phil. Big up, Phil. We got any more? Oh, we got a couple more. Let's bring on the bun.
Danny Kiriakou. Danny Kiriakou. What's up, brother?
I'm all right. How you boys doing?
Yeah, I mean, struggling. I'm really not looking forward to player ratings later. But look, it was just a shit show.
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to do that. I don't know how you're going to do that later on, mate, honestly. You might just mark everyone as a forward yesterday, and that's it. Just leave it as that.
You know what I mean? I'm just going to come on and go, today's player ratings is the players were all shit. Thank you very much for coming on. Bye-bye.
And then we can do after the updates. We can say the update is we're rooming with every single player. We'll get none. See you later. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, look, Dr. Tottenham was in full force yesterday. I mean, that was a prime Dr. Tottenham performance, don't you think? I mean, it just lacked completely everything. It just lacked absolutely everything yesterday. I mean, there was no fight, no passion. Passion was key in a game like that. And you could see the difference between the two teams last night. You could see the difference. It wasn't even just a class difference. It was just the desire of how much they wanted it. Chelsea just looked like they wanted it. And they probably played some of their best football in maybe quite a number of weeks yesterday. And I know obviously the Tottenham factor obviously plays its part, but yeah, they just wanted it so much more yesterday. There was just no fight or passion from us whatsoever, and that was probably the worst thing to see from us. I mean, we've seen a lot better improvement from Conte's teams since he's taken over the last 2 months, but yesterday was kind of like back to Nuno ball. It was just disgraceful. It was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the fight, and I completely agree with you there, but in terms of Nuno's selection and the way he set it up, the changes he made throughout the game, do you think he got it right?
No, I think the team selection was wrong yesterday. I think I when I came back from the airport after picking up my missus yesterday, I was eating dinner and I was like, oh shit, the formations are out. So I looked at it and I saw Doherty on that left wing back, and I saw Sanchez, and I knew that he was going to play the as a central kind of defender yesterday. And I was like, I was not confident at all, and I had a feeling that we were going to lose straight away as soon as I saw that, because firstly, Sanchez is not a leader, right? He will never be a leader, right? The guy needs better players around him to perform better, which also tells you a lot about him and his ability. Now, I know Brian Daigle, I know Brian's like Sanchez and how he's been this season, right? But we have to be honest with ourselves. He is not a top quality defender, right? Because he needs a top quality defender to be able to direct him what to do throughout a game, right? When he doesn't have that, he looks clumsy. He looks like he doesn't know what to do. And that was, again, yesterday. He looked like that. He was out of position at times. And then obviously Tanganga had one of his worst performances in the Spurs shirts. And I feel sorry for him a bit, because look, he doesn't get a lot of chances. And maybe it was a bit of a big game for him to play yesterday. And he, like Phil was saying before, he just looked like he was like a ball in a china shop, like a lot of the times. He's an aggressive player, but his positional awareness was just shocking. It was so bad yesterday. And it just looked like he was nervous. He looked like he was all over the place. And Tanganga, his passing's never been great. And that's why he will never be a right wing back. A defensive right back, maybe, I think is probably his best position. Centre back, we haven't really seen him that much. And yeah, I think what was annoying that none of us saw Rodon play last night, because Conte said it himself that if Dyer was out, Rodon was going to be the replacement, right? And he didn't play Rodon.
Apparently, Ali Gold, someone mentioned in the comments, apparently Ali Gold said he picked up a knock or something.
Oh, so then that's probably why then he had to go with Sanchez. But I mean, that's telling, because it shows how much we need another one or two centre backs, to be honest with you. And yeah, I mean, Doherty playing the right wing back. Yeah, and the rest. Yeah, we need a whole team, basically. We do need a whole fucking team, and we know we're not going to get that.
I personally thought Davinson was all right last night. I actually thought he was one of our best. He was one of the better players on the pitch for us yesterday.
Yeah, but you say that, right, because of the scoreline, right? But if the scoreline went the way it probably should have gone, yeah, he would have made quite a number of mistakes, right? We were lucky that they didn't penetrate us or punish us more than what they should have done, really, because we gave them so much space, so much opportunities. And Sanchez, again, he was, if you look at his actual defensive awareness, right? Hold on a second. Yeah, sorry. If you,
Babe, I'm on YouTube, please.
If you look at his defensive awareness, he just was. He was like in the position she should have been. Like there was one time where Ziyech crossed the ball in right to Lukaku, and Doherty again just gave him all the space in the world. He crossed the ball in, and Sanchez just jumped, and it was like he jumped just for the sake of jumping. And Lukaku, if he headed it and he got onto it, but he put it past the post. Now, if Lukaku put it on target, that would have been a terrible defensive mistake from Sanchez. And it was like he just wasn't sure where to be at the right moment. And yeah, you might say he did all right. That's because we only lost 2-0. But really, we should have lost by a lot more. And that's the thing. And for me, Sanchez, his best position is right centre back. He cannot play that central defensive role because he's not a leader. He's just, and he also, on top of that, if you're going to have someone there, you need someone who's confident on the ball, and he's one of the most unconfident players on the ball in our squad, right? It's just as simple as that. And that's another reason why it was just a bit poor from the whole defense, from the back going forward. Yesterday, the whole team was poor. I think the best player on the pitch yesterday was probably Mora. He probably was the one trying to do something throughout the game, but again, he was trying and running into dead ends, and he was getting tackled, and people they double up on him, and they just take him out of the game. And as soon as they did that, we had nothing going forward. And again, I know how much people like Hotspur, but I've been calling this for a while. Hotspur needs to rest. He needs to just get out that team for a bit, and I think Conte needs to give Winks a go, because he's the only one at the moment, and this is crazy that we're saying this, right? He's the only one at the moment. He's actually showing a bit more progressive passes in our team, right, to actually try and put the ball forward to the attacker so that they can actually create chances to score, right? Because having the two Hotspur skip in that middle, it's just too defensive.
That you were going to say this 6 months ago.
Yeah, Dyer and
Winks for Hotspur.
I know it's insane, isn't it? It's insane we're actually even talking about this, but it's a telling that the reason why we're talking about it is because of how much, well, what Conte's done to kind of take them above what their levels really are. Because let's be honest, right? We are overperforming, right? We're probably one of the only teams overperforming, and it's showing with the kind of players that we have that we still need a lot better quality of player, basically. I mean, if you look at Hotspur, right, is he going to get into any of the teams above us in the top 4, top 5 into their starting 11s? He's not, because look, I love Hotspur, don't get me wrong. I love his passion. I love his energy. I love what he does. And he's normally a very solid player, right? And he does win the ball back a lot. But it's just at the moment in the Conte system, he doesn't complement Skip, right? They need a creative player who can complement Skip, right? And I think they need. I think we all know we need a creative player, right? He's like the one player. A creative player is probably what we need more than anything, and then probably a right wing back as well, right? And yeah, I just feel with Hotspur, he just, the fans are getting onto him a lot. Now, I don't agree with the way they're getting onto him, because he doesn't deserve that, right? It's not all his fault. Like Brian said, he's played, like, how many games has he played for us in the last season and a half, right? He's played nearly every game, right?
Every minute of every game, Dad.
Yeah, and he needs rotation. Every player needs to be rotated, and there's certain games where Hotspur will be great for, but there's certain games where he's not. Now, the best performance that I've seen in years for Tottenham was against Liverpool, and we played a 3 in the midfield, and we overpacked that Liverpool midfield, right? We had like Winks and Ndombele and Dele Alli, and what they were doing together in that game, it was brilliant. And I think if you're going to play Skip, you need to play Winks with someone else. It has to be an attacker. It has to be someone who's going to put that forward ball through. And if you're not going to give Ndombele the chance, or you're not going to give Lo Celso the chance, then you have to try and get someone else in. It's as simple as that. Do
you know what, Danny? I've agreed pretty much with everything you've said. One thing I haven't, Sanchez for me did have a good game. He did have a good game, but like I said, he's not a leader. He is not a leader. I mean, Dyer's been helping him, but obviously his best was with Toby and so I agree with what you said, but I think he had a good game, Sanchez. But put it this way, it weren't hard for him to be the best defender yesterday, but with Hotspur, and you know when it comes to Hotspur, my feelings of that guy, but you are bang on the money with everything you said. I think if we remember, when Conte first came, people said his position might be one of the positions that are scrutinised, that might not.
I was saying it.
Yeah,
I was saying it as well.
Conte was apparently said it was him, and about, I think it was 5 players they said that might be in jeopardy. And obviously, because of Hojbjerg being Hojbjerg, you just didn't think it was possible. But like you said, over the weeks recently, it's starting to be found out, and it's worrying because he did look so good last season. He has been overplayed, but there's question marks now, and I hate to say that.
Yeah, I agree. It is sad to see it, right? But I want to get my opinion on him, right? I think with Hojbjerg, I want him in that squad, right? I think he's good enough for Tottenham, right? But I don't think he's good enough in as your starting 11 for a team that's trying to challenge for top 4. He's a great. He'll be a great squad player to have. You can bring him on. You can play him in certain games, and he'll be like a utility player, right? So you can play him in the smaller games. He maybe give Skip a rest, or maybe play him in a certain way when you're playing different type of players in different teams, but. In terms of if you're going to pick, I always say this, right? I always say you have to compare the prime Poch era, right? The first 11 to the first 11 we have now. Hojbjerg doesn't get in that team, right? Because in our prime Poch era, we had Dembele and Wanyama. That was our dub. That was a brick wall of a midfield, right? They had everything. They had technical ability. They had dribbling ability. They had drive between the two. They had everything. And Wanyama was a good passer of the ball. People forget that he was a great passer of the ball, right? And he scored goals for us as well. So I mean, look, I think Skip is so young, and he's gonna improve a lot. But I think he needs another 2 midfielders in that midfield with him to complement him. You probably need another. I would say you need more of a technical kind of player who can hold the ball, right? Who can retain possession. So maybe that could be Winks, but I know what Winks is like. Unfortunately, he does get barged off the ball a lot. He's too lightweight, and you probably need better than him as well. And then you need a creative player like a Coutinho or someone like that who's going to unlock the defense. Maybe someone who's good at set pieces as well. Someone who's got a bit like an Eriksen player. We need like an Eriksen player basically. Yeah, and I think until we get that, we're not going to get in the top 4. And I think it's going to be. I mean, look, this January, right? Conte, the way Conte was yesterday, right? I haven't seen him that deflated from a loss, and it wasn't just for me personally. I know Si mentioned it last night on a post-match show, right? And Conte didn't. It doesn't seem that he looked dejected or deflated just from that loss. Then I reckon he probably has had that meeting, and they've told him that it's going to be difficult to get players that he wants or players that he plays in this January. Which, lo and behold, what a surprise! Fucking Daniel Levy at his best again, isn't he? So I mean. Look, I will be lucky if we get one player in. If I'm really honest, I think they might get one player out. I reckon it'll probably be Doherty they get out if they do, and they'll get in a right wing back. But I reckon that's all they're going to get. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get a striker. I don't think they're going to get another midfielder. They might sign one player for a pre-contract agreement potentially, but what's that going to do? And the problem is, we need players right now. Right now. People keep saying, and I've heard it from reporters, I've heard it from Ali Gold, I've heard it from DiMaggio, I've heard it from loads of people saying that the bulk of our money we're going to get is going to be in the summer, right? But what the hell is that going to do if we're not in the Champions League? Because that completely changes our plans and the type of players that we can look to bring in, right? Because with the squad we have now, right? We'll be lucky to get top 4, especially if we have injuries. Oh, God help us if we have injuries to Harry Kane or Son, right? Because if Harry Kane gets injured, bloody hell, I don't even know how we're going to cope. And yeah, I think if we don't get, I'd say 3 players in right now, I think we need a striker. I think right now we probably need a left centre back. We need a right wing back and a central midfielder who's an attacking midfielder. I think that's what we need right now. I think we can cope with Harry Kane, I know we need another striker, right? Because we need one, but I think those 3 positions are a lot more critical. Just based on, again, the performance yesterday, we need another centre back, another right wing back, and another creative midfielder. And I think Conte is probably seeing that it's not going to be easy in the next 6 months, and he's probably looking at it saying if we can get some players in, then we may have a chance of getting that top 4, and then maybe their plans for the summer can kind of be sort of they can go ahead. But if we don't get that top 4, mate, I'm telling you, it's going to be a completely different window that we're all going to see. I'm telling you this for a fact. Brian knows it.
But Danny, you're talking about bringing in these caliber of players, right, in the summer that will, like you're saying, will potentially only move to a Champions League side. Isn't it the same caliber of players we're going for now in January? So why would they come to us now not being in the Champions League?
It's a good question. It all depends. It depends on what motivates them, really. Is it Conte? Is it money? I mean, the reports we saw with Kessie, right? That I know DiMaggio was saying it on Sky Italia's or Sky News Italia. He was saying something that there's already talks of a contractual agreement, and we've offered him something like 7 or 8 million a year, which is a lot of money, right? And apparently that's the most that anyone's offered him, and also the actual fee and all this rubbish that we're hearing. Which to me, I don't believe a word of it, because we know what Daniel Levy's like. We know what the PR masterclass that he likes to produce. And look, it all depends on what motivates them, because Conte is an amazing pull factor, right? Don't get me wrong, he is, right? He can attract players a lot more than anyone else can, right? But it's the fact that some of the top players, right, of the top tier caliber players we want, they just still might say no because we're not in that Champions League. And it's that there's no guarantee that we're going to get in the Champions League unless they can sell a project and say in the next 2 years, right, we are going to be competing for the title, right? If they sell a project like that and say, look, we believe with you in this team, you're going to come here and you're going to help us win a title. If they sell it like that as a project, then maybe those type of players will be like, do you know what? Conte's here. Look at the stadium we have. Look at the training ground we have, right? We've got Harry Kane, we've got Son, we've got Romero, we've got a good base of a team. We've got Lloris, one of the best keepers in the world, right? We've got a good base of a team. If we can get like a few more top class players in the level of like a Harry Kane or someone close to his level, then why can't we challenge? But right now, we don't have that, and we need better players. It's as simple as that. And the players, I'm sorry, but the players that we have now, they will be fringe players. Some of those players, the Ben Davis, right? As much as he's done well, he's going to get replaced. It's a matter of time, because we need better. We do need better. You compare, like I said earlier, you compare Prime Poch squad, right? Vertonghen is a far better player than Ben Davis is. Yeah, that's the level we have to strive for. We need to strive for Vertonghen, prime Toby, Romero. I think it's going to be the one who's going to be like that kind of level, right? Yep. He is going to be that level because he's world class, right? But Dyer, is he going to get to that level? Dyer's performing way above. He's not, right? He's not. Dyer is performing above his ceiling right now, right? And it's a matter of time for these players until everyone will see, like we saw last night, everyone will see they cannot perform at the levels they have been on a consistent basis because they are just not good enough. It's as simple as that. And until we replace them, right, and they become squad members again, like they were in the Poch era, the Dyers, the Davises, the Winkses, they were all squad players, right? We're now trying to rely on them. What does that tell you? How are we going to top challenge for top four or any trophy, League Cup, FA Cup with those players as our first team players? It's not. And I think I hate to say this. I really hate to say this, but I think we're not going to beat Chelsea, right, when we play them again. I know I'm going with you to the game as well, boys. So it's gonna be nice to be with you and sit and go to the game and watch. And you never know, we might get a shock. But right now, I feel like there's no way that this team can play better than the way Chelsea played yesterday with the players that we have. And if Dyer's out again, do you really believe that we're going to trust Sanchez and Tanganga again, right? In that centre back, in those three with Davis to stop Chelsea scoring? Yeah, but I know Roden will be back, and that'll probably be a lot better than having Tanganga, because then Davinson Sanchez will move back to the right centre back role. But do you honestly believe, unless he goes like a 3-5-2 with and he puts more bodies in that midfield, that we're going to actually go and score 3 or 4 goals against Chelsea? This is a team, right? I know Adam saying it before earlier on. William Cahill was saying that Chelsea haven't done well in the last 5 Premier League games. They ain't lost though. They drew on 4 and 1-1, wasn't it? They ain't lost. So, and you got to remember, right? Chelsea, every team like the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the West Hams, they all up their game when they come to play Tottenham. Whenever we play them, they up their level. They're like a brand new team. Arsenal, they started their rejuvenation against Tottenham. They started it when they beat us 3-1, and everyone forgets that. Chelsea, they played like the best football they played in weeks against us again. Dr. Tottenham in its finest. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just continuous with these teams. They always up their level when they play us, and I struggle to see how we're going to beat Chelsea when we play them next week for the second leg. I really struggle to see it. I can't unless they somehow miraculously just show us everything that we saw in the Liverpool game.
Well, the
but it's just
going to be
it's
electric, Danny, isn't it? We've got to be the 12th man and try and help them get over it.
We have to be.
And we just got to hope for a better performance in the first leg, haven't we? Because the first leg and the second half of the league game we went to, in case I think the 12th man could turn quite. I
think that's going to be the biggest. I think that could be the biggest factor in the home game is 12 man, because our home form under Conte has been good, right? And the stadium, the atmosphere, we've been there. Even since you've been back, Brian, right? You've been there, and you can see the difference, right? There is the atmosphere is electric. It's everyone is behind the team. They're behind Conte, and it's a lot more fun to go and watch Spurs in the stadium this season with Conte there, right? And I think that does help. And I think like it did against Liverpool. And I just hope that they can kind of find that kind of belief within themselves and that performance and that passion to go and try and compete and try and actually do something unpredictable against Chelsea and maybe get through to the final. But these players, they've shown us over the last 3-4 years that they're not at those levels to kind of go and compete and win trophies. I mean, how many times have we spoken about some of these players that they just don't show enough to play for the badge or willingness to play for the badge? Like the Liverpool game, like I said, it was probably the best football I've seen Tottenham play in years. It was just unbelievable in a stadium, the performance. We should have destroyed Liverpool that game. And I want to see that again if we're going to have a chance of beating Chelsea, because it is possible, but whether or not they got that motivation and belief within themselves. Because last night, I also saw there was no belief. It was like everyone was nervous. They were scared. Their touches were off. I mean, what I can't understand, right, is professional footballers, right? They train every day. Every day they get paid astronomical wages, right? To train every day and to play matches. They play games week in, week out, sometimes 2 to 3 games a week, right? How can you not fucking learn to control a football? It is your fundamental of being a professional footballer. It's to be able to control a football. And the amount of players that couldn't control a football last night was ridiculous. I mean, it was like watching like 12 Sissoko's on the pitch, 11 Sissoko's on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what your thoughts are, but how did you think we were last night? And do you actually believe that we can get through to the next round, to the final?
Look, I'm going to give my opinion, and I think that we're a much different team at home than we are away from home. I think that's clearly evident since Conte's come in. It was even evident under Nuno as well, let's be honest. So we're clearly a much different team at home than we are away from home. Having said that, Chelsea, the levels of Chelsea are much, much higher than the levels of us right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's just clear. But with the 12th man, with our home form, I'm not going to say we're going to win, but I'm saying we're going to give them a much better game than we gave them at Stamford Bridge. I think that's a given. And I think with players coming back in, Eric Dyer was a massive loss to us last night. If he
loss.
If he comes in back for that Chelsea game, we've shored up that defence somewhat. If Reguilon plays, he'll be a massive plus as opposed to Matt Doherty. You know, Emerson back on the right, Reguilon on the left. That will be a massive plus to us. So, and I think we have to shore up that midfield as well. We have to play 3 in midfield when they come to
100%.
Tottenham. If we do those 3 things, if Dyer comes back in, Reguilon comes back in, we put 3 in midfield plus the fans behind the team, I don't see a reason. I mean, apart from the quality, I know the quality and difference, but we can beat them. We can beat them. I'm sure of that.
We can beat any team on a given day, right? Look, I know we didn't beat Liverpool, but we should have thrashed them that game, right? And look, Sessegnon might even be back. I know Conte was saying Sessegnon will be back for probably the Morecambe game, so he might even give him like a little bit of minutes to see how he is, and then he might even start him against Chelsea, right, in the second leg. So he might play Reguilon with this game against Morecambe, and then maybe bring Sessegnon on for a little bit, see how he is, and if he does well, I would like to see Sessegnon, because Sessegnon was absolutely phenomenal against Liverpool. I thought he was brilliant. I think he gave it, and what I liked about Sessegnon is his directness, because sometimes, unfortunately, I don't see Reggie having that directness that say Sessegnon had. He was aggressive in with his directness, and I want to see more of that from Reguilon. Obviously, we know what Emerson's problems are like. Emerson just can't cross the ball to save his life, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? He just can't.
Danny, at
and
the
whether or not
at the end of the day, football is a funny old game. That's the saying, isn't it? And
Of course it is.
And you know what? Chelsea, after that game, their fans, maybe even some of the players, are going to be thinking about that. Tottenham, they were a walkover last night. I can't wait to go to their stadium. Yeah, they're going to think it. They're going to think they're just going to turn up and win next Wednesday night. That's what they're going to think. And you know what? They're not wrong to think that. They might not be wrong to think that because it could easily happen. But
yeah, of course.
If we do those things, the fans are on side, make it a bit of a cauldron for these Chelsea players and these Chelsea fans to come into, we can turn this around. I have no doubt about it.
I agree. I think we have to be like we were in the Liverpool game. Like it was like non-stop throughout the whole game. Like the fans were just non-stop. And I think if they're like that, I think it can really put pressure on the Chelsea team and hopefully give our players a bit more of a lift. And like you said, I think if those three things happen, I think we've got a chance. And I think all we can hope for and all I pray for is as long as they give their effort and they put their 100% in, they give us some passion, some desire. And if we still lose, look, we lost to the better team, right? Chelsea are the European champions. Let's have it right. But yeah, that's all we want to see as Spurs fans. We want them to see the fight and desire, and at least them to try and win the game, not just roll over like they did last night. I mean, it was just pathetic, and I feel sorry for you boys having to sit there in the cold last night and watch that. I mean, it's disgraceful. It honestly is. And
it's like was freezing last night for the first time since I've been back. It was proper. Blitz.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Ben? As well, Brian, when it's been cold, right? Brian's been like, "Oh, it's not cold. It's not cold. I'm used to this cold. It's not cold." Yeah. But now he's finally admitted it is cold.
No, yesterday I was wearing 3 jumpers and a jacket last night, and I was still cold.
Yesterday was blitz. I'll tell you what. The one thing at Stamford Bridge when we're sitting there, it is so compact. Like when you got your season tickets there, you sit down and you got the space. It was so compact. I think there are a few more people in our row that should have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a horrible chilly night. But yeah, like I said, and also compared to the Chelsea game that we had at Stamford Bridge where it was under Nuno, this is going to be under Conte, and Conte will be animated on that touchline. He will get people G'd up, and we need to score early. There's no thing like we need to literally, like you said, we've been slow for the first 20 minutes. We need to be like out like a bullet out of a gun.
Exactly. We can't have those 20-minute slow starts that we have been having in recent weeks because you can see against a better side like last night, we got completely shown up for it. We can't be starting slow like we have been. We get away with it against the Norwiches, the Brentfords, and the Leedses and that kind of stuff, but we're not going to get away with it against Chelsea. We're not.
I think
we have to go as a fan base. We have to go as a fan base into that stadium thinking that we can win that game. We can't be going in there with 100%. A defeatist attitude. We can't. We have to be together as one on Wednesday. We have to sing for the lads, and we cannot give up. Yep. We have to go in there with a positive attitude.
100%, and I think we will, Ben. I think the fans, I think they're going to give everything they've got on next week on Wednesday, and I know I will, I know you will, I know Brian will as well, and I know a lot of us will. So I just hope that we can rally the team up to actually go out there and, like you said, start fast. I think that is the key for us to get past in that tie. I think the key is to get a goal in the first 10 minutes. If we can get a goal in the first 5 to 10 minutes, right? And that will put the pressure on Chelsea and they will start feeling it. And the fans, what it will do to the fans, it will elevate them even more, right? And I think that will put the pressure on the team because as soon as if you score fast, if you score very quickly in the first sort of 5 minutes, right? The fans, the amount of belief and hope it gives them, they ain't going to stop. They're going to be even louder than ever. And I think that's what they need to do. And that's what I'm going to hope for. And that's what I'm going to pray for.
Okay, talking of praying about something. Lucky you're here because you've seen me on my phone. I've been trying to get an update, so I've got an update on the Bob Spurs situation. So as I said, we'll always let people know. So last couple of days hasn't been good. We've just been waiting for some tests and everything. He's been up and down. But I've just got from Tammy. So currently he's stable. They've had to check his kidneys because they thought there may have been something wrong where they can't do. He's not improving rapidly. Kidney functions have come back okay. He's been fighting another infection, but infection markers are coming down. His oxygen is now at 70% when he's on his back. Now it has been spiking up to very high. It's been going low. They use this term proning, which is they turn him on his stomach to relieve the pressure on his lungs. So he's been back on his back since yesterday afternoon. and it went down to 60. It's gone back up to 70, but it's encouraging. Obviously, the picking up of the infection isn't encouraging, but obviously the kidney function coming back okay. And the fact that his oxygen is stayed stable around the 70, and they're saying he is still in the boundary for stable. So that is right now where we are with Bob. Thank you, Tammy, for passing that update, and Kim for keeping you in the
Tammy.
loop. So yeah, I mean, Tammy's been going for. Danny got to speak to Tammy on Monday, was it, or Tuesday, whatever day it was. And yeah, Tammy,
Tuesday,
bless her, Tammy, bless her, and looking after the kids as well. And then Kim's come down with COVID, but yeah, that is the latest and hottest news on Bobby. Like I said, we'll always release it when we can, and that is where we are.
This one's for Bobby. He's one of our own.
He's one of our own. He's one of our own.
Bob Spur TV.
He's one of our own.
Get well soon, Bob, man. We need you here.
It's definitely more positive than it was the other day, because I know what me and Brian were speaking about. I know Brian's been giving updates of how Bob is, so it's definitely an improvement, which is good. And long may it continue. And I hope that his body can keep fighting and keep improving, so that we can have him back here and back on Bob Spur TV and back in the Wall show, because I can't wait to see him when he's on there again.
And you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? We've got 839 people watching with us. How amazing would it be if we could get him up to so many subscribers that when he's back, he'll just be like, wow,
100%.
What is going on here? So everyone,
that's not a bad idea.
Go over to Bob Spur TV and subscribe to that channel, the great man that he is. We just need him back. So please, everyone, go subscribe there and leave your good messages in the comment section as well, because we need you to send him all the good vibes we can. All the good vibes.
One other thing I want to add to that, we're going to try and sort out, we're in the process of, I will be putting a tweet, we're either going to try it for Morecambe, it might be too soon, but Chelsea or Liverpool, Chelsea or the Filth, to have a clap minute for Bobby. And Bobby, yeah, you're so Tabby and I said the 27th minute because of his birthday. But then this man right here came up with the genius idea of seeing that every prediction is 4-1 the 41st minute. So I'm just waiting to finalise a couple of things, and then there will be a tweet coming out from me. And it will have clap for Bobby in the hashtag. And I just urge everyone, especially in this Tottenham Hotspur community, we have to retweet that, because if we can get that for him, and then obviously get it captured, then that is going to be something that will blow his mind when he wakes up. So we're just trying to put that together. And if I could just ask everyone, and I do mean everyone, to retweet that, it would mean the world.
Yeah, so obviously once he does put that out there, we're going to put it on our community post. We'll put it on Twitter. We'll put it on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, and just try grow it. Just try and make it known to everyone as much as possible. People in the comments now asking for Bob Spur's link, so I'm just going to put it in there and pin it to the top. So there, it's there.
Get
right
over
now.
there and subscribe to him, because honestly, he's unbelievable. His shows are unbelievable, and we've had a lot of us like here, and also someone in the back end. We've all had the pleasure to meet him, and he is truly an unbelievable man. Honestly, he's one of the kindest people you'll ever meet, and and we just hope and pray that he's gonna get out of this, and I know he will. So please, everyone, get over there and subscribe to him, because he's unbelievable.
He's a fighter, and the world is a better place when he is in it. And whenever you come into contact, whenever you're with him, you can't help but smile or 100%. Laugh, or
literally.
You're just positive around him, and he's fighting. And the good thing is he is fighting damn hard. This guy is like a heavyweight boxer right now. He's not giving up. So that is the latest where we are with him. So it's a bit of positivity today.
Yeah, so everyone go and subscribe to him right now. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. But Danny, thanks a lot for coming on. And I'm just going to leave you with these two words in the famous from the famous Bob Spur, and that is piss off.
Yeah, piss off, Danny.
Leave you out. In Conte we trust.
Come on.
See you later, brother.
That is Danny. Is there anyone else? Yeah. Here he is, the Irish Hotspur. Come on. Dave, how's it going, man?
Yeah, as good as can be after last night, I suppose. First of all, it's good to hear that Bob is doing well, and thoughts and prayers are with him, and just keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah, definitely. Look, just sum up to me what happened last night, man.
I mean, look, you can't turn up to Stamford Bridge and expect not to earn the right to play. We didn't earn the right to play. We sat back, bend over, and let them have their way with us. It was that simple. But look, you look at our team, our world-class players, Son and Kane up front, Hugo Lloris and goals. Between them, absolutely nothing. And it's making it hard for them to shine, even on these big occasions, and help us, win these big occasions, because you can't even get the ball to your world-class players. You can't get any decent service to the world-class players. I mean, we just turned up with the same Spurs mentality. Look, I mean, whether it's the pre-season cup, pre-season, which we ended up bottling and sharing with MK Dons, whether it's the Champions League, League Cup, FA Cup, anytime we have a chance of doing anything, Tottenham will let you down. And that's exactly what happened last night. It was poor from minute one. I mean, a lot of people are saying about Conte, he looked dishevelled last night. Well, of course he did. I mean, he got sacked from Chelsea and said he wanted them relegated. He wanted them players to go out there and fight for him yesterday as well. And they didn't do it. I hear a lot of people, talking about Tanganga. I was listening to the fan show last night. I can't even remember who said it, but they were like, well, like Tanganga, he hasn't really played, but he has. He had a run in the team at the start of the season. He didn't really take the opportunity. Put back in yesterday for another opportunity. Didn't take it. I mean, I get it. He's only a young lad. But that first pass to Emerson it's indicative of what I keep seeing time and time again, of us doing things at walking pace. We were under pressure from minute one.
Dave, sorry, just before you go on, just on Tanganga for a second. You say he's a young lad. He's 22 years old. Half the Arsenal team are that age or lower or younger.
Yeah. No. Like, he's still relatively young. But no, look, I agree with you, Ben. I mean, if you're given a chance, it's up to you to take it. We shouldn't have to sit here and keep giving people chances after chances after chances after chances, and them not taking them, and still sit here and say, well, there's something there, give him a go. It's not his fault. It fucking is his fault. I mean, everything else is put in place before they step over that white line. Anything that happens over that white line is their fucking fault. It's that simple.
David, I agree with everything you said, but did you hear what I was saying earlier about with Tanganga? And it's like, we're playing at right back. No, we're playing at right centre back. No, we're playing at left wing back. No, do you not think that I still think, I think we all still believe there is really still a player there, but they've got to identify his position and say, right, you are whatever they want him to be, and say, right, you just play there. And if you can't get the minutes here, you go out on loan, like we did with Sessignon when he went to Hoffenheim. We said he's going as left wing back. He plays as a left wing back, or we're calling back. I think this is what we need to do with Tanganga.
Do you know what? I get what you're saying, but he also has to help us identify his right position.
Yeah, that's true.
He also, when he's given the chance, he has to play well. I mean, any young lad that wants to make it in the game, if you come through at a top club, especially at Premier League level, you get one, maybe two chances, if any, and it's up to you to take them. Football is a ruthless business. We can't sit there time after time after time and keep rolling them out, giving them chance. Now, I don't really obviously, look, if we had better squad depth, he probably wouldn't have played last night. But he did. He was given the chance and he didn't take it. These young lads coming through, they also have to take their chance when it's given to them.
Let me ask you about this player, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Obviously, a disgraceful showing last night. A lot of Spurs fans across social media digging into him, even prior to this game. I mean, what's your opinion on Pierre? I don't know if you remember, but we had a chat after the Carabao Cup final, and I was telling you and Matty that I think this fan base massively overrate him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember I was saying that, but what's your opinion on him?
Do you know what? My opinion is, I think he's being asked to do jobs that he just can't do. He wasn't brought in to do. Look, when we brought him in, he was brought in to be a ball winner with hopefully Ndombele or Lo Celso or someone like that playing beside him. Because at the time when he was brought in, we were weak. We couldn't turn over ball. Teams were just steamrolling us and we couldn't turn over ball. And that's what he was brought in to do. Now, with him and Skip, for me, I think they're very similar players. I do think Skip has a better passing range on him. But they're both rolled out there purely because they will show energy, they'll show desire, they'll show a bit of passion and try and run for the badge. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, Højbjerg was absolutely woeful last night. It's no excuse for it. I mean, he has to take a long, hard look at himself in the mirror. But do you know what? My opinion is I don't think he'll be truly valued until we get in that ball-playing midfielder, someone that's comfortable on the ball, receive the ball in tight spaces, like a Jorginho, like a Kovacic. And then I think you will see the true value of Højbjerg. when he's left to do the role that he is a specialist at. I mean, right now we're asking him to do a role that he just can't do. And when I look at it, do I blame him? I mean, I don't. We're paying about 400 grand a week in wages to Dele Alli, Ndombele, and Lo Celso, and not one of them can get out onto the pitch and fucking do it consistently. So he's making up for their downfall, for Tottenham's failings. But I do get what you're saying. But do I think he's overrated? No, I don't think so. I think we will see the true benefit once we get in that right midfielder beside him.
Some of the things, I mean, after the game last night, me and Brian actually said he was actually all right. But then when I watched it back last night, I was like, how wrong could I be? I mean, I couldn't have been more wrong, literally. And people have already clipped that bit up on social media and started sharing it around. But some of the things that he was doing on that football pitch yesterday, lazy touches, getting bypassed, I mean, it's just embarrassing. I mean, if Dele Alli was doing some of that stuff last night, everyone would be going absolutely mental right now.
But you know what it is, Ben? Højbjerg has credit in the bank over the last couple of years that Dele Alli doesn't. The only thing Dele Alli has is a new colour in his fucking hair.
And that colour is red.
Look, new colour in his hair and whatever else he wants to do, you know. But look, with Højbjerg, I mean, it is what it is. He's a ball-winning midfielder. You're asking him to turn from a ball-winning midfielder into a midfielder into a creative midfielder. You're asking him to do two roles. We know he can't do it. He's limited, just like a lot of this squad. But if we had other players that we have at the club that will actually pull their weight, get their ass on the pitch and do their job, we would be speaking about Højbjerg in a different breath altogether. I mean, I put out a tweet a couple of weeks ago about Højbjerg just because I was seeing so many people dissing him. And so I put one out to the contrary. I was like, you know, Højbjerg is so underrated. I mean, he got nearly 1,000 likes over like 100, 200 things. So he's a player that is a hot topic right now, you know, where he really does split the fan base. But we also have to remember he's been way overused over the last couple of years as well. He's been way overused. We haven't really been able to rest him. And it's probably contributing to a performance like last night where he's just not at the race. He's probably tired, sluggish, but there's no excuses. I mean, at the end of the day, he's supposed to be one of our hard men in midfield. I hear a lot of people saying Chelsea are better than us, outplayed us. Yeah, fine, perfect. They are better quality than us. But what did they do to us at the Battle of the Bridge? We were 2-0 up. They couldn't live with our football. What did they do? They turned it into a fucking dogfight. They got up in our faces and took our concentration completely off the game. If you can't compete with a team on a footballing level, there's other ways of winning that game. And one of them is getting up in their faces, riding them up, pissing them off, taking their mind off the game. And we just failed to do that. And on that, I blame the likes of Højbjerg and stuff because he's in the team to do that. He's the sort of man you look at that does that. This is a guy that squared up to Arteta pre-season. Show that fucking passion in this Chelsea game. If Tottenham are talented, 2-foot one of them or grab one of their players by the scruff of the neck, you know what I mean, and get everyone else ramped up around you, revved up around you, all the Spurs players. And I mean, as much as I hate this guy, because he pisses me off, and he's dressed like Brian, robbing wages there. Brian's got he looks like he's ready to rob a house there. But
one particular house I'm going to rob.
Brian's auditioning for Home Alone 6. But look, when it comes to Ndombele, at one stage he got taken out, and then one of the Chelsea players ballooned the ball off the back of his head. Now, if I was on the pitch, I would have ran straight to that Chelsea player and I would have started a scuffle. You got to do something. But nobody protected Ndombele. They just allowed it to happen and they got on with things as normal. I mean, there was no fight, no togetherness, no passion, no desire. Even when we were passing the ball, it was just passing with hope. There was no belief in what they were doing, no penetration in what they were doing. It's just kind of, we'll keep the ball here for a couple of minutes and give it back to them. I mean, even the first goal. Now, Brian, I know you're a big fan of Davinson Sanchez. Yep. I know it. But he was, I'll be honest with you, for me, I thought he was god-awful yesterday. The first goal, Son, we were under pressure from minute one. Son won a free kick and alleviated the pressure. I mean, it looked like the Chelsea player wanted to fucking ride him in the Grand National. What does Davinson Sanchez do? As soon as Son wins that free kick and it was passed back to him, ballooned it straight back to Kepa. They got the attack. Højbjerg won it back. Went back to Sanchez. Sanchez sloppy pass to Tanganga. Tanganga sloppy pass to Emerson. Emerson was caught flat-footed, and it led to the first goal. I mean, when you're already under pressure like that, you have to learn to keep the ball. You can't just balloon it straight back to them. I mean, if I was Harry Kane, I would have walked down, I would have grabbed him and fucking nutted him. I would have headbutted him. I'm like, what are you doing? How do you expect me to get into the game? How do you expect Son to get into the game? How do you expect Lucas to get into the game? Even if you are hitting it long, you're hitting it way overhead, straight back to Kepa. At one stage, then Tanganga, I mean, don't get me wrong, Lukaku's a big man. But, I mean, he just bowled Sanchez over. Sanchez didn't even react. He done nothing. I mean, where's your pride as a man? Where's your pride as a footballer in a Spurs jersey? Stand up to the guy. You know, if you can't compete with him physically, there's all little things you can do, like rub his ear, tell him you fancy him, wind him up, whatever it is. You know what I mean? There's loads of different things you can do. We didn't do anything. We just rolled over. We just sat there and let them have their way with us. And it hurts. That's what hurts most about it. We were lucky to get out of there 2-0 last night.
We were.
Incredibly.
But the thing is, because we've got away at 2-0, do you not think that there's an opening there for us at home? Because we are much better at home than we are away from home, let's be honest.
Look, we've got the Conte factor. We've got the home factor.
That's not what you were saying last night, Dave.
No, but look, I'm getting onto this now. And I mean, this is the first time and probably the only time you guys will ever hear me probably say this. I mean, everyone knows out there I'm the most deluded person there is. I mean, you can put us up against PSG and I believe we'd win. I genuinely believe this cup tie is over. I do. I get what you were saying, Ben, when you were saying to Danny, like, you know, fans, we have to stick together, sing the boys. I'm going to do all that. But deep down, I believe this cup game is over. Spurs. It's Spurs, man. It's Spurs. I have no belief we're going to get to that final. I think their heads will be down. I don't see them coming out and fighting at home. I really don't. Like, the thing is, Ben, even if we go 2-0 up inside 10 minutes, Spurs will still find a way to fuck it up.
And how does that bode the rest of this month then? Because after that Chelsea game, we got the filth on Sunday. We've got Leicester as well, and then Chelsea again. I mean, how do we look at this month then?
Look, the way I'd be looking at this month is where we are after it is where we're at as a club, to be honest with you, where we're at as a team and in and around where we're going to finish in this league. Look, Chelsea in the league, it's going to be another tough ask. They're going to be scrapping for the points. It's going to come down to who wants it more. And on last night's evidence, they wanted it more. I mean, they won every second breaking ball, every second ball they picked up. When you go into Arsenal, look, it's Arsenal. I'll never ever say we can't. You know, I still believe we can turn them over. There's hurt there. There's hurt there, and hopefully we can take it out on them. And then the Leicester game is on the 19th, 3 days after that. Now that's going to be a tough ask, just purely because it's 3 days after the Arsenal game. That's going to be a very tough ask. But look, do you know what? If we could beat Arsenal, beat Leicester, and take a point off Chelsea in the league, I'd be happy with that. I really want us to get to that League Cup final. I mean, City are gone. I think there's definitely some wrongs that we need to right, you know, by winning the competition. But it's going to be a tough ask against Chelsea at home. I hear some people kind of not criticising Conte, but questioning Conte. And I mean, look, you're well within your right to do. But I'll be honest, you're not going to hear me do it for the next while, for as long as he's here, unless he gets back in the January transfer window. Because, I mean, we've had problems under Jose, Nuno, Mason, problems led to Pochettino's departure. And at this point, it just cannot be the manager. People can question his substitutions, this, that, and the other. I mean, when you look at the bench, what has he got to come on? What has he got to come on? People say, like, even against Watford, people say, bring it on Ndombele, let him change the game. Bring on Lo Celso, let him change the game. They're not changing the game. The reason why they're not starting from the off is because they couldn't give two fucks about what they do on the football pitch. They do not care. So I feel sorry for Conte, and I think this January we have to get in at least 2 or 3 players to help him. I was always there. I always said when he came in, he's going to have to paper over some cracks until January, and then January we're going to have to help him out. It's that simple. If we don't help him out, he will walk. He will not stick around. He doesn't need Tottenham. We need him, and he's certainly not going to let Daniel Levy ruin his reputation in the game. This is a guy that has 5 league titles over 7 years, I think. 5 league titles over 7 years, plus domestic cups. You fucking back him. If you don't do it now, this club is in the mire.
Oh, that David, all right. I mean, I personally don't think he walks February. I don't think come February first week he's not backed, he doesn't go. I think if he doesn't get backed within the first month of the summer, it's goodbye, see you later, ta-da, I'm out the door, and I'm going to tell the world why. I just can't see him doing it in February. I just can't see it. Now, obviously, funny enough, I think you know my feelings about a certain person very, very well. We're here we are now. What is it now? The 6th?
But Brian, we have actually done a bit of business today. Keane Ateti was loaned out.
Oh, fantastic! So we've saved. How much is his wages, David? About 10 grand a week or something? 5 grand?
Probably about a tenner now, Levy. You know, he hasn't done enough in the game to earn big money.
Exactly. It's just here we go. So we've got a load of youth, whatever, out. And now it's got to come the incomings. And surely, like you said, I think with this Leicester game now being thrown in, it's given more urgency to get them in. Because, like I said, our Christmas was we were a little bit saved because of the COVID bad times. We were quite fresh. But these games are now going to come thick and fast. And they're important games. Like Ben said earlier, with the 3 games we have in hand, they're irrelevant if we don't pick up the points against Chelsea and Arsenal. They're completely irrelevant. So... Yeah. What do you see happening? Do you, with your heart, what do you see happening in the window?
I'll be honest with you, Brian. I've said it already. I wouldn't be surprised if Skip got a pay rise, Hugo Lloris signed an extension, and Harry Kane got a new contract, and that's it on your deadline day. I mean, I've seen it before. I don't see why it wouldn't happen again. I see these Kessie links, and I know Danny was talking about it. That I was seeing on DiMarzio or Sky Tilly that Tottenham were trying to do a deal for Kessie. Well, I actually read today that they were trying to offer Endon Bellet to get Kessie. I mean, who's going to want to take Endon Fat-ass? The guy should be working behind a McDonald's counter. Who's going to want to take him? He hasn't done anything to prove that he should be going to any other club. No one wants to touch him.
He can't work behind the McDonald's counter because you only get 1 meal a day.
I think we actually did that on the Tottenham update as well, didn't we? A couple of days ago, we said that he got. I think Juventus as well, wasn't it? That rejected.
Not Juventus. It said that we tried to offer him to AC Milan, but they just said no.
I thought there was another club as well. Was there not?
Not.
It might have been Juve.
I can remember.
But yes, like you said, mate, trying to get him out of the club. I think the only way we get him out is in a player exchange.
There's just been an update from. There's just been an update from Jack Pitbrook of The Athletic a couple of minutes ago. And it's nothing really new, but he's saying that Tottenham considering a fresh move for Adama Traore this month to convert into a right wing-back. Matt Doherty could return to Wolves as part of the deal. I mean, why every update that we see is just consider this, consider that, consider
Why
this.
is every update...
Just go get it done.
Why is every update an update of things that have been updated and updated? It's like the update is, like I've said with Bobspur, we're saying, listen, if we don't message you, the update is there is no update. We're going for Adama Traore. Let's have an update. We're considering going for an update. And let's have another update. We may approach Adama. Jesus goddamn Christ.
Ben, you've got Brian angry standing up now. You better calm him down.
Honestly,
all over the shop. You know what? I'll be honest with you, lads. If we sign Adama Traore this transfer window, I'll be hella pissed off. And the only reason why I'll be pissed off is because we've been linked with him for the last 2. Why not do it 2 windows ago? Why do it this window? If you know you wanted him and you knew you needed him, do it 2 windows ago. Look, with Adama Traore, I think he'd be a good option at right wing back. But again, he has no end product. It's a bit like Emerson. I mean, with Emerson, I believe we have to be patient with this guy. I think he's 22 now. At 22, I think we were loaning Kyle Walker out to Aston Villa, I think, if I'm correct. So we have to give Emerson a bit of time. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, the guy wouldn't cross a road. It's absolutely shocking. It's actually, it's getting embarrassing when teams are allowing him to cross the ball alone. They're just going to take it and counter us.
That's what they do, yeah.
But if Adama Traore comes in at right wing back, yes, he'll be able to single-handedly get you from one end of the pitch to the other. But what good is that if you can't pass, cross, or shoot either?
Yeah. I mean, there's been another update from Tim Spears, who's the Wolves correspondent for The Athletic, and he says Wolves are anticipating that Traore will leave either this month or the summer. As things stand, no prospects of him signing a new deal at Wolves. So
the update, again, it says no update. It's just the same as what the update was, the previous update.
Pretty much, yeah.
Good.
But you know what the problem is like, we want to catch the likes of City, Liverpool, Chelsea. So you need to be looking at caliber players that they'll be looking at and try and get there before them. Adama Traore, the reason why he's playing at Wolves, Aston Villa, Middlesbrough is because he doesn't have the end product. If he had the end product, he'd be playing at the top end of the Premier League already. And again, it's a player that we're going after that no other top 4 team or any of the top 4 teams chasing top 4 wants. And that Wolves guy, what's his name, Ben? I'm going to have to give him a ring and ask him to have a chat with Doherty to get him there, because I do hear that maybe Doherty could be, they're looking at maybe a loan move back to Wolves. But from my understanding, in Doherty's camp, they have no desire to leave Tottenham Hotspur whatsoever.
That's great stuff.
Fantastic. What would we like to hear?
We're stuck with these players. I mean, we have to realise this. A lot of these players, no one will touch them with a barge pole. They're bad eggs. They've already shown the colours. They don't really care about what they're doing. They blow too hot and cold, and they're not consistent enough. No one's going to want to touch Ndombele. The only clubs that can afford Ndombele and afford these wages will be a big club. Not one of them are going to bring him in and let him bring disharmony to their dressing room. Lo Celso, you might be able to offload him. Doherty, I'd be very shocked if we find a way of offloading him. For me, if we got in another right wing back, I would just cancel his contract and say, there you are, you fucker, you've been shit. Head over and support Arsenal, buy an Arsenal season ticket, because that's the only stadium you're going to this year. Sanchez, I'd be selling if I could get money. But we need to have a window here. I see a lot of people saying a striker. I don't think we would be looking at getting a striker this summer or this window unless we can definitely do a deal for Dusan Vlahovic. Because I think we need to address areas further back the pitch. I think we definitely need to get in another centre-back. I think if you could get Romero fit, brought in another world-class centre-back like Romero, you'll always get away with bringing in Dyer, Davies or Sanchez between them, because it limits the mistakes, because you already have two world-class defenders there. I think you have to buy a ball-playing midfielder for sure, 100%, and you need to go and buy another right wing-back to provide competition for Emerson. I don't think we'll be buying a striker, because I think Conte would trust that Son can play up there or Lucas can play up there if Kane got an injury towards until the end of the season. So I don't think we'll be buying a striker this January transfer window. I'm sorry to put a pin in all the Vlahovic balloons, but it's not happening this window.
Yep.
One last one I'm going to leave you on. Obviously, there's been rumours about Phil Coutinho. First of all, would you want him? And if you don't want him, would you take Christian Eriksen back? A lot of people talking about that in today's show.
Oh, I'd take anybody at this point. I really would. I mean, I'd take Coutinho. I'd even take Aaron Ramsey, who's reported leaving Juventus.
Oh, don't do that, Dave. Don't do that.
I mean, honestly, it's better than the options we have at the minute.
Aaron Ramsey is on the injury table more than bloody Gareth Bale.
More than Lo Celso.
More than
Yeah, but you know what? He'll come in, play a few games, and he'll do more than Lo Celso and Ndombele combined. No, look, I'd definitely be looking at bringing Christian Eriksen back, but does he want to come back? That's the thing. I only want him back here if we get the old Christian Eriksen, not the year and a half of Christian Eriksen that we had to watch before he left, which was pretty poor. Which I do think he will. I think, if we give him a second chance at a football career, I do think he'll take it with both hands. Coutinho, Sky, reported this morning when I woke up, Tottenham are interested in Coutinho. I was rubbing my hands. I went to gel my hair, said it's going to be a good day. By the time I got the gel in my hand, Tottenham are not in for Coutinho. So I was like, fuck it, there's no point. I'll stick the flat cap on again today. I don't think Coutinho will come. Rumours that I've read is that he will be at a Premier League club by the weekend, but it won't be Tottenham and it won't be Liverpool. So I don't think he's coming.
He's going to Villa.
It worries me. It worries me when Conte keeps saying in his press conferences, he needs help in the January transfer window, and that, they haven't even really spoke about. And this is what annoys me. I mean, they've got Conte in. They knew this January is going to be important to get players in. Why not pre-plan the window? I mean, you look at Everton. Okay, they're not the sort of caliber players that we should be going after at Tottenham. But they've brought in a left-back, that Ukrainian lad, and they brought in that guy Patterson from 16 million for Rangers. You look at Celtic across the border, brought in 3 players or four Japanese players already. We should be acting fast in this market if we had any real ambition of getting top 4. We should be acting as quick as we can in this market.
Yeah, I get that. And in an ideal world, you're right. But unfortunately, this isn't an ideal world. We fucked around with Conte in the summer. So he didn't come in until Nuno eventually got sacked. When it got to the beginning of December, they were supposed to sit down and have that transfer talk, but Conte turned around them and said he needs another month to think about things and needs another month to evaluate his squad. So, I mean, where's the time there to actually sit down and plan the transfers for January when he still doesn't know who he wants in and out mid-December?
I mean, yeah. Look, there was 2 weeks over December where they probably could have tried to put plans into place where we had no games. But I'll be honest with you, I think Conte knows exactly. I think he knew December. I think he knew who he wanted, who he didn't. I'll be honest with you. I think he had a fair idea walking into the Tottenham job, who was going to stay, who was going to go. I don't know, Ben. I don't know. I want us to act quick in this market. I mean, if we did act quick, you could go into this second leg against Chelsea, Arsenal, you have Leicester coming up. You could go into there with a bit of confidence because you have more competition. And at the moment, that's probably what led to last night's performance. There's not enough competition in this squad. Eric Dyer was out. We've won, and I never ever thought I'd be saying this, believe me, but with him in the team, we've won 64% of our games. And with him out the team, we've only won 33% of the games. So it's a massive, massive drop-off. That should not have that much of effect on our performance the way it did yesterday. Reguilon being out of the team should not have as much as effect as it did yesterday. And the reason why it is because we're still relying on players to come in that just aren't good enough. You know, you're bringing in Matt Doherty. I mean, we've wanted to get rid of him for the last year. It's been rumoured since the summer. This guy will be going. This guy will be going. I mean, when that's constantly rumoured, do you really expect this guy to come in and have a world of a performance? It's never going to happen. You're bringing in Japhet Tanganga when Dyer's out, moving Sanchez into the middle. Now, I know Roden was injured, but I mean, Roden isn't exactly a world beater either. He was brought in to replace Jan Vertonghen. And this is why we're seeing performances like this, because I still maintain this, and I've been saying this a long, long time. The likes of Davies, Dyer, Sanchez, they've all been backups under previous managers, under Jose Mourinho, under Pochettino. They've all been backups. The only reason why they're anywhere near the squad is not because of football and ability. It's because we just don't have the players here. Now, how can players that have been backup all over the years end up and find their way into the first team years later when we all knew they weren't really good enough? Yes, they've upped their performances, but they've reached their ceiling. They're not going to get any better. You're still going to see the mistakes. You're still going to see the fluctuations in performances and results. You're still going to see it. What they maybe have done is maybe stop the need from us buying in them positions twice by buying a starter and a backup. Maybe they're okay to come in and do a job here or there for a game or two. But on a consistent run of games, still not good enough.
Well, David, I just need to correct you with saying, because Roden wasn't the replacement for Vertonghen. Roden was the replacement for Skriniar, who was meant to be the replacement for Vertonghen, because that's like you said, like what we do. And I've been very public this week using your brilliant Carl Walker one. I always credit you and mention it all the bloody time. It's what we do. It's what we do. And when it comes to the transfer list, when they're this meeting, I'm pretty goddamn sure now, I'm not in the Tottenham in the club or in the know of how footballers and directors. I'm sure he said, this is the list of players I want, okay? Before he evaluated the squad. Before he would have said, here's the list of, let's say, 10 players. I want these, maybe not now, but in January and the summer. Here's 10, these are what I want, these are what they could do. And in that extra month, when he started evaluating the players, when he saw Winks had gathered some momentum and given him a charge, you go, do you know what? That one that I had as a replacement for Winks, take him off the list. I don't need him. The one for Sanchez and Davies, you whittle it down, so surely they have an indication of somewhat a nucleus of players. They don't just go, oh yeah, well, let's just pick this one and go. He's got a list that he's got. And when he sees players, he asks for that time to evaluate, is to evaluate certain players to see if they deserve the chance to go or he has to upgrade. And these players have shown, whether, like if there's a Doherty that's shown, right, we need to get an upgrade, or a Winks or a Davies that said, you know what? They've earned 6 months. I could deal with this, and then reflect in the summer. So surely the nucleus of the players that he wants are there. And then, like I've been saying, why does Conte need to meet Levy? Isn't that what Paratici was hired him for?
Yeah, it was. But don't worry, the Don will sort this out by the end of the window. Trust me.
I will do. Me and a few people will sort this out.
Look, if not, February 1st, you can come to me and ask me not to call him the Don. I will politely decline. I'll still call him the Don just because I think it's fun. But, you know, look, this is time for Paratici to step up now this window. Show what he was brought in to do. Bring in a couple of extra bodies and help this team out. Really help it out. But I want to ask you a question, guys. Do you think Conte should have went with the 3-5-2 and brought an extra man into midfield from the very start?
1,000,000%.
100%.
Because against Liverpool, we played phenomenal doing that. And I think that could be the formation to unlock these bigger teams.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. As soon as the lineup was called out last night, now before kickoff, I said, why do we not have an extra man in midfield? Especially against the Chelsea. Especially, you know, the power that they have in midfield. Yeah, they didn't have Conte on the pitch yesterday, but they still had, you know, Saul, who hasn't been good, but he played well last night. Jorginho, who's always, you know, a very good player. So we had to beef up that midfield yesterday if we had any sort of chance in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, look, because even at times Chelsea were rotating it from left to right, and the amount of times they were getting the ball on the edge of the box with not either Højbjerg or Skip, because they were being pulled left to right the whole time. They were getting so much time in around the edge of our box as well, and were able to ping shots off. And I know another thing. I know some people like would look at the game this way. It's kind of like, well, you know, it's our own doing. We made the 2 mistakes, so realistically, it would have been 0-0 if we didn't make them. But the reason why we made the mistakes is because they had us under pressure from kickoff.
Yeah.
And once you keep the team under pressure, inevitably, then mistakes are going to happen. And we've seen it time and time again under Jose Mourinho. When you play that way and you just keep letting your defenders be under pressure, with the defenders we have, they will switch off and they will cost you a goal. It doesn't matter whether it's 91st minute or the first minute. You put these guys under the pressure, they're liable to switch off and you will score. And until we sort that out, you're going to see teams keep trying to do it and keep trying to do it, especially these top teams. What Conte has done against these bottom teams, he's got a bit of respect off them. They will now sit back like you've seen against Watford, and it's up to us for us to break them down. But Conte, that's something else Conte has to learn to deal with. That when teams like that do sit back, we have to be better at breaking them down. But now against these bigger teams, you know, for me, he has to go with the 3 in midfield. He has to make sure the passion and the desire is right, and ultimately just sit back and cut them on the counter, but sit back in a shape, not as much as we did last night, where we sat back so deep, where we were just allowing them to put cross after cross after crossing. I mean, do what we've done in other games, where you get a nice shape, you kind of drop back to halfway, and you make them play it around the back 4 and try and take it off from there. We didn't do that last night. We just dropped completely back on into our own box and let them have their way. It's terrible, and it cannot happen in the second leg.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, Dave. But Dave, thanks for coming on, my friend, and we shall speak to you very soon.
See you soon, buddy.
I'll see you soon. A few games of FIFA later on, Benji.
100%, mate. I've worked out my tactics now.
I've been hearing about these tactics.
Going down.
It ain't beating my tactics, honestly. My tactics are unbeatable. I haven't lost with them yet.
I told Brian what happened the other night. I told him.
No, look, we don't want to tell everyone else. We'll save the embarrassment. I mean, look, I got embarrassed the night before, so instead of embarrassing each other, we'll keep it quiet, my man. Look, everybody out there, Spurs fans, keep the faith. You know what I mean? It's going to be a tough month. We all need to stick together. Let's attack this month. Come on, you Spurs boys. Brilliant job. And I'll see you another day.
Come on, Dave, buddy. See you later, Dave. Wow, is there anyone else? No. Oh.
Okay.
3.5 hours of
we knew it was going to happen.
Therapy for you guys today. I think Brian wants to get some fresh air.
Yeah, we'll get some fresh air, cigarette. But I have to say, it's the return now. I've tried to fight it off, but when we say, and as always now, you know what's happening.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll be back with player ratings and a Tottenham update for today. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.